Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Sorry for the delay, but we about to go ahead and get this started. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to everybody joining me tonight. The Knicks lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves as they, I don't want to say start their descent, continue their descent to the bottom as they cruise to the bottom. The Knicks continue on a 6-game losing streak. We're going to talk about it. By the way, subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell. Get a notification anytime that I go live. And check this out. Those VIP memberships, they're ready. I'm going to put a link in the description. Let's rock. All right, Knicks fans, we back. We here. We ready to go. And I tell you what, the chat is already popping. It's already popping a little bit. We got Viv in the chat. We got C-Dog in the chat. They're having a nice little discussion about a few things. Who else we got in the chat? We got Isaiah joining into the chat. We got Guermo in the chat. We should have a good one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We should have a fun one. Because I know some people are probably a little bit frustrated. I hope your day went well. My day went pretty well. It went pretty well. It started off a little bit rocky though. You know, I had a fundraiser with my girls' with my girls' basketball team today. I had to get up super early in the morning and go get Krispy Kreme donuts. But Krispy Kreme, if anyone from Krispy Kreme is listening, I have a complaint. I put in my order, my fundraising order for Krispy Kreme donuts. So basically it's like this, right? You go, you buy your boxes of donuts. You find you a store that you can sit out in front of and sell those donuts, and you sell them for double the price. So if you're buying for $4, you're selling for $8. You're buying for $4.50, you're selling for $9. And you get donations, all right? So I put in my order days ago. I get to the Krispy Kreme store this morning. And guess what? The lady says, oh, I saw that there was, a note for fundraising donuts for Sunday, but I didn't know which Sunday it was. And I'm looking at her like, really? I mean, did you think that I was going to schedule this week for next Sunday? I was mad. But nonetheless, I left. Me and my daughter, we left. We went down to the place where we were fundraising, and we got several different fundraisers going on. So we said, okay, what are we going to do? We don't want to give up this date because there's going to be people coming in. We can raise some money. So we went down anyway, and we had this design of a shirt because we're having shirts made, and on the back of the shirt, there'll be businesses that have their the name of their business and the phone number on it. It had a website as well. So we said, okay, we'll talk to people about these. Hopefully we get some people who own businesses to step, to be there. We'll talk to some people about these. We got there. We talked to some people. Most people just started giving donations. Long story short, we ended up doing very well despite Krispy Kreme. We ended up doing very well. We made about $800 in 4 hours. Can't beat it, right? And that's what we probably would have made if we sold the Krispy Kreme donuts. We had about $800 in 4 hours to get our season started. So big shout out to everybody. No one is probably listening, anyone that donated, but big shout out to everybody who donated to our program so that we can get this, we can get our AAU season started for this girls basketball. Then I left there, went straight to the gym to continue this boys freshman tryout. We had more players come in, some really good players. It ends up we're gonna break it off into 2 teams. That's how much talent that came out. We're gonna break it up into 2 teams, an A team and a B team. So things are moving along. Things are going well. For the most part, had a pretty good day, enjoyable day. As I mentioned, and we're gonna get to Knicks in a minute. I know people are like, shut up, talk about the Knicks, but we're gonna get to Knicks in a minute. All right. You guys seen the game, you know what happened. I spoke to you guys before about VIP memberships to my website. Right. So next Friday, I'll be dropping the first NBK podcast. Okay? The first NBK podcast. I'd like some people to jump on that. And we already got a few VIP members. All right? And in order for you to jump on this NBK podcast and listen to the podcast that's going to be released next Friday, you got to become an official member. You got to become a VIP member, as a matter of fact. So become a VIP member. I'm putting the link in the description. You guys can read all about it. Go check it out. Become an official VIP member of Nothing But Knicks. Go check it out. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get to the guys that's in the video chat. I know they're steaming, ready to talk, ready to go. But on that podcast, man, we're going to have the first one next Friday. But, of course, we'll have some characters on there. We'll have Who's Mark on. We'll have Gormo. We'll have Viv. We'll have Isaiah. We'll be able to have good, nice one-on-one conversations. And we'll have more people on that podcast. So make sure you become a VIP member right now. We're going to go ahead and get in here and talk to the guys that's in the video chat. We're going to rock with it. Let's go. All right. You see who's in the video chat right now? And we're going to talk about what's going on. They've been having a nice little discussion already. I'm going to open up with Viv because Viv hasn't been here in a while. He said he's got some things on his mind that he wants to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump off with Viv, and then we'll get to the rest of the crew. All right? Viv, what's popping, bro?
What's going on, Sim? How are you doing? The West Coast trip and everything, it's just it's kind of been a little bit tough to get on the chat, but I'm glad I'm back on here for at least this one. And hopefully this road trip is most of the games are pretty much it won't be too late to get on the chat. So
definitely, man. You were on a West Coast trip. You were on a West Coast trip, or no? You saying
no? I was a team, right? Like the games, like all the Phoenix, Sacramento, all those games.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you, Viv. That was a little bit rough for me too, because throughout that whole trip, throughout that whole West Coast trip that the Knicks were on, I had to get up early in the morning to meet with clients and do things, and I wasn't getting to sleep until 3, 4 in the morning. I mean, I usually don't get to sleep till that late anyway, but I don't always have to get up at 7:30 either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just a combo. I had to get up in the morning too, and then it was just like some of these games are just hard to catch with. I think I even missed one of the games too. I think the Clippers or whatever. So yeah. But look, I know not to go off topic too much, but look, this game. I know you talked about it that probably most people may have expected to lose this game. I thought, okay, look, if Towns and Wiggins are out, maybe they might lose the game, but they might lose it in a more respectable way, in a sense where it's not as lopsided per se. Okay. But I felt like just like the Minnesota game at home, this one felt very. This one got out of hand pretty quickly, and a lot of the mistakes that have pretty much plagued us recently, just reappeared again. And I'm going to get to the point guard play. Obviously, I mean, Moutier, we've talked about him enough. We know who he is. He's not good. And it's pretty, we've already concluded that for the most part. My problem with Dennis Smith Jr. is that there are moments that we've seen there. He's just been like, damn, this is like, this is awesome, the way you played. But I feel like way too often, when it's not a matchup that is one of his rivals, he doesn't show up for that game, and it takes him a while to get competitive in the game. And he kind of saw it today, where he was kind of coasting for about like 3 quarters or so, and then in the fourth quarter when the game got out of hand, he got it going a little bit. I hate to see that when all that production happens in the fourth quarter when the game's down 16 or whatever. I don't care about garbage time points. Mm-hmm. he's so talented that you want to see him do this for 48 minutes. And I think that some of the things that are problematic at this point is that obviously, I don't know if people mentioned it in the chat or in the video chat the last couple of games, but his conditioning, he has to spend a lot of time on his conditioning, and it clearly looks like he's not able to keep up for 48 minutes. You can see it, so you can see it subtly over the course of the game, which kind of pisses me off a little bit too, where he just automatically switches for no reason, where there's no reason to switch. So that puts somebody else in a bad position to have to guard a point guard shooting a three, and those things are a problem. And the other thing is that way too often on defense, this game, for example, and the game yesterday against Fox, where all it took was like one little hesitation move, and he was just on ice skates.
Well, I'll tell you the one thing that I noticed about him is he reaches a lot. I seen De'Aaron Fox do it, where he would come at, especially on a break, he would come at Dennis Smith Jr. and Dennis Smith Jr. would reach, and when you reach, your feet automatically stop moving, right? Now, and that's a habit thing. A lot of young players do it. That's a habit thing. Reach instead of move your feet. And, if you reach, you throw your hand out there, you're going to get beat. Most of the time, if you have a quick player in front of you, you throw your hand out there, you're getting beat. It's something that's very fixable, though.
Yeah, it's very fixable, but it also could be a condition of just, being, I guess, like, I don't know, but like fatigued in a sense, or maybe just overall with the season being very fatigued and, not having that conditioning where it just, you resort to these like lazy habits, like reaching for fouls and, reaching whatever, not using your feet on defense. All those things tend to add up. So it's just frustrating because you see there's moments during the game where he's just, completely dominant. There's stretches for that, but he cannot keep it for 48 minutes. And another thing is because he's very passionate at the point guard position, which is positive and negative at the same time, where you can see the energy when he's got it going on. It's just you can see it. It's contagious. But when he's like he can easily get frustrated too, right? So it's like I just hope over the last 15 games or so, just you slowly see some of these habits go away for a little bit, for lack of a better word, because when he can play, he can play. And the problem is that he just, if he can avoid these mistakes, and even like the turnovers, for example, lazy passes, there's times we know when he doesn't have lazy passes, we've seen it. It just trying to peel away all these habits one at a time, and there, you can see it because there's a complete difference when he doesn't have any bad habits going on. There's a complete difference between him and Emmanuel Mudiay, where it's just not even close. It's not even funny to even talk about it.
Right.
And the fact that he has 5 turnovers and 4 assists, and it's more comparable to Mudiay's 5 turnovers and 1 assist in that fashion, it's just frustrating to watch as a fan.
Okay. I mean, I get it. I hear you. I get it. The only thing about him is, he's a young dude. He's a young guy. Hopefully those habits aren't so ingrained that he's unable to correct them. I think he can definitely correct those habits. You'll have to see what Fizdale is preaching to him.
Yeah, I think really I put people at 3 different pillars, right? So I think the conditioning is a huge thing in the summer, right? If he can spend a lot of his time getting into the best shape he can get into, not that it's a contract year or anything, but obviously for his own career, for the sake of his own career, get into a better shape that he can get into. And then obviously from there, if he's in better condition, then the next thing you work on is, okay, then you can work your shooting. And, that's your free throw shooting, your jump shooting, etc. I think those are like the 3 pillars for him to really work on in the summer. And I think you'll see a lot of these things that, are popping up right now in the second half of the season. You'll see it less frequently next year.
Okay. I hope so. I hope so. That free throw shooting befuddles me sometimes, though,
Yeah, the hitch is annoying, but I feel like a summer of proper maybe not coaching, but just proper instruction is it'll make a difference. Like even if he's at 70% per se or 75%, that's progress to me.
Now here's my question about all of these players that we keep getting from other teams that weren't able to develop these players. Do we think that, or well, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to say weren't able to, because maybe they didn't give enough time or give it a chance, or just thought that their habits were so far gone that they weren't going to be able to fix it. But do the Knicks really have that type of developmental system in place that they're so much better than other teams that we think we can bring in some of these other players and be able to fix those issues that haven't been fixed in years?
It's hard to say, because when you're looking at, you have to look at it over the course of the year. And to be quite honest, a lot of these guys we're talking about, guys like an Emmanuel Mudiay, even Dennis Smith Jr., Noah Vonleh, all these guys. And Noah Vonleh has actually pretty much, tapered off over the last 2 months. And yes. Emmanuel Mudiay has pretty much been a hot mess ever since, God knows, January at least.
I mean, but he I know Moutier's had a few good games though.
No, he's had good games, but I guess the key is, the question is then, like, the development, right? If our development is good, when it's going to be like a well-established development program, does that require us to, to see players grow into players that can be more consistent? Because a lot of these players, the main issue with not their development, but I guess their trajectory, is that they can never be consistent over a long period of time. So when you see players like, Vonleh and Mudiay and all these guys taper off for long stretches of time, then the problem is it reinforces that notion of, inconsistency that plagued them before they joined us. Mm-hmm. So, how can someone like Fizdale or the coaching staff emphasize or, get that consistency out of them? And he's noted it too. Consistency is the biggest thing that Fizdale's had to juggle with. It's keeping him up at night trying to get 48 minutes out of all these players. I mean, the problem is it's too many younger players. It's a very young team, the youngest team in the league probably. A lot of these players, it's how he has to deal with I can't even count how many players. You're talking about 9 players like this, 10 players like this, where most teams, when you're talking about a reclamation project, they may be talking about, half those players.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Fizdale is supposed to be the development king.
Yeah.
Right? He's supposed to be.
Also, by the way, before I let you go there, I think they should flip the Mitchell Robinson and DeAndre Jordan starting in bench, because I think that Mitchell Robinson should be playing with Dennis Smith Jr. and he should be playing with Dennis Smith Jr. only. And you can keep the minutes around the same, keep him around 20 whatever, 25 minutes, but play him with Dennis Smith Jr. Don't play him with Mudiay, because Mitchell Robinson can't do anything on offense with Mudiay, and Mudiay can't find him. So the only person that could find him is Dennis Smith Jr. So just keep that. I would flip them. There's no point.
Okay. All right. Let me get around. I'm gonna come back to you, Viv. Let me get around like Tupac. Talk to some of these guys. All right. Isaiah, what's popping, man?
It's popping, son. It's good.
Good.
It's good to be in regular time again, man. It's getting a little crucial with the West Coast schedule, man.
I feel you.
Good to see the crew again. B2K was amazing. They put me in. They put me in. I did my little dance. You know what I'm saying?
They pulled who in?
They pulled me in, man. They said they needed a 5th member.
Hold up.
And I just say,
you serious? I was about to say you crazy.
Yo, man.
If that was the case, then we needed to have some. We needed some video of that.
Oh man, listen. If they don't want me on stage, there'll be a lot of baby oil, a lot of pennies. I'm just joking about the pennies part, but you know what I'm saying.
Questionable stuff, man. That's all I'm saying. Questionable stuff. Isaiah.
Yo. Yeah, man, it feels good to be back, though, man. It feels good to be back with y'all, man. Sim. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
Man, listen, I'm gonna be real with you, Sim, man. People are not gonna like this. I'm not really feeling David Fizdale no more. I'm just this. I want to go on a whole rant later, but it's just right now, man. I'm not seeing a lot of positives. I've seen some positive, but to me right now, there's a negative, and it's just a lot. Maybe you can help me out, and maybe I can understand later when we get down later and talk about it. But I'm just not really a big fan of Fizdale right now, especially with just on simple things with defense and just this point guard thing that's just really not working out. I don't know, man. It's frustrating right now because I think we all could agree in the beginning of the season it wasn't about wins or losses this season. It really wasn't. It was more about the player development and seeing these kids play hard every day and playing a certain style of ball that we all thought Fizdale was gonna put in. Now, and listen, I know there's a lot of variables to what he does, and certain things happen, but it's just sometimes I don't see the principle of what he's saying on the team, and it's just been frustrating this year. And I'm just right now I'm not really feeling the feeling of faith and Fizz right now. It's just a little disappointing, especially with this game tonight where it was. I'm sorry, there should be no reason why Tom Gibson has almost 20 points and some rookie I don't even know of scores like almost 20 points too. It's just, to me, those are just unexcusable things that happened tonight, especially with no Carl Towns and no Andrew Wiggins. That's just, I'm sorry, son. Certain things can't be excusable when facing certain teams in certain situations. When you don't literally have your two best players and you got Tops Gibson getting 20 points, like, come on now. The last time we heard about Tops Gibson was when he dunked on Dwayne Wade. It's just a lot of things with Fizz that's frustrating me, and we're gonna talk about it later. But I'm just a little disappointed in the things he's doing right now.
All right. I mean, the only thing I can say is, let's. The season's been a mess as far as lineups, as far as players. I hear you because I've had a lot of the same arguments, right? Just about the principles of the game and seeing the players exercise the certain principles of the game. So I definitely feel you.
One more thing too, Sim.
But I'm definitely not ready to throw Fizz away, right? Because I think that we've got to at least wait and see what happens, with other players that we get when we get a little bit more stability with our roster. And maybe we get some players that, let's just see if it took a year for him to understand the roster. Although I do agree with the whole principle thing. I like to see certain principles happen, regardless if you're winning or losing. But I'm not. Listen, I wanted Fizz. I think he was the right guy. I still think he's the right guy. I'm not afraid to question him, but I just want to wait and see. Let's see what happens. Because maybe he is preaching these principles, and I talked about this on the last stream. Maybe he's preaching these principles, and it's just going to take a while for guys to get out of their bad habits and those type of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand, Sim. Listen, Sim, I'm big on look. I've ripped Fizz, but I do want the brothers to see. I love seeing black coaches. I really do, and we need more of them in the league, and I want to see them succeed. It's just. One of my big things is this, and this is the principle of my life. Don't tell me something. Don't say something, and then don't do it. Don't say certain things like you keep what you kill. you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and then we can see that that's not what you're doing. Don't have me have this put you on a pedestal already of what you say and you don't do what you mean. And I know to a certain extent that you're not gonna do everything you say, but don't say certain things like that and don't go about it and be truthful about. Don't you gotta, if you're gonna say keep what you kill, you gotta mean that. Don't tell the fan base we gonna play a hard-nosed defense and we gonna keep what you kill and certain and this and that, and then you don't do none of that. Now again, I want him to succeed. It's just like I said before, the principles and the things that he's been doing, is just, it doesn't match what he says. That's one of my biggest things. It doesn't match what he says.
All right.
So, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it more later. So,
all right. Let's get around. Let's see what guys thinking. Get around. Kareem, what's popping, man? What's popping, Kareem?
Yo, Simmer.
I'm chilling, man.
Good. That's good, man. I'm glad to be back in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Nick Nation, shout out to the chat. And it was good, man. What's going on, man? How we looking?
How you feel about the game today?
Well, about the game, man. What can I say? Well, I'll speak to Isaiah's point. I mean, I understand where he's coming from. You know what I mean? Throughout the months that I've been calling up, I've been a Fizdale supporter, not just because, what I might think of him on a, just a personal level. I mean, not personal level, but just on, how he carries himself. I just think that it's just not enough. We don't have enough info on him to judge him at all. Like, I mean, we gotta remember and always remember that the Knicks have maybe, if you look at DeAndre Jordan, after DeAndre Jordan, we don't have any official rotation players on our team. Like, we got to really consider that. There's nobody on our team that will get traded to another team and will automatically be in a rotation. No one except for DeAndre Jordan. So with that being said, all right, like think about this. Mm-hmm. Like Stockton and Malone, they went to the championship. They went to the championship a couple times. They won how many seasons? They won 50 games. What did they run? Pick and roll. Pick and roll is unstoppable play. You know what I'm saying? So when we looking at our young guys not defending the pick and roll the right way or not running the pick and roll the right way, it's because some guys run the pick and roll better than others. Stockton is a Hall of Famer, mainly or partly a big part of it because he was able to run the pick and roll so good. We have young players, let alone young point guards. So you look at Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague, he's a former All-Star. Did you see how he's running that pick and roll? He's going one side. He's going the other side. Like he wasn't just going around the screen, and we got guys that just go around the screen. He's working the screen, like going left, or you gonna go right, left. I'm gonna go right. They working it to a T. So we got young guys. So I'm just saying, just as far as we're not playing good hard defense, I don't think we're not playing hard defense. I think we're not playing smart defense because we're just inexperienced. So that's the point I want to make to Isaiah being frustrated with what he's seeing. I don't think that Coach Fizdale is not giving these guys the tools. I think they're just young, and we have a lack of talent until the talent develops. We have a bunch of raw guys, and they're developing their talents. Like Dotson, for instance, he's starting to get an identity because him as an individual, he knows who he wants to be. He wants to be like a Klay Thompson guy, a guy who doesn't need the ball, doesn't have to dribble the ball, defense. He's a second-year player. He's an older guy coming from Houston. He stayed 4 years. So these guys, he's a little bit more seasoned, mature. So I'm just saying, and I know everybody knows we're young, yada, yada. And I know Isaiah probably don't want to hear that, but that's my take when I'm looking at these young guys faltering. Like when you try to defend the pick and roll, it's so many actions you have to stop. You have to stop one action, then you got to rotate to the shooter, then you got to rotate, you got to keep so everybody got to be working in unison. So, I think Fizdale is doing fine for the fact that this is a developmental season. And I know people don't want to hear it, but it is what it is. We have young guys that are developing, seeing progress. We see Mitchell Robinson. Before, he couldn't even set a screen the correct way. He's setting screens with his legs. Now he's setting solid screens. He's, his motor's getting better. So, that's what I have to say about Isaiah's point. But as far as the game, man, it was an ugly game. As far as the Knicks are concerned, they stagnant offense. Moutier was a big part, I think, of our demise because we was running pretty good until he came in. I'm not trying to put it all on him, but he's a point guard, and he has like the lowest basketball IQ. Like he needs to be at West 4th Street. You know what I'm saying? Like, he needs to be at West 4th Street, running point guard in the cage. Like he's bad, man. Like he's just really, really bad. He if he's gonna get better, hopefully he won't get better with the Knicks. But I think right now we don't have a backup point guard situation. It's frustrating our starters because Fizdale is not necessarily looking to win. He's looking to get these guys play time. He's trying to let them prove themselves. He's trying to let them, make their mistakes, and that's what we're seeing. You know, I think Fizdale is in a tough situation. He's handling it with poise. He spoke a lot about body language to Dennis Smith Jr. and being a leader. I think Fizdale shows great body language. We got frustrated with people like Hornacek always getting frustrated, and so I think another loss. The tank is strong. You already know that, and I was disappointed. I wanted us to have a better showing. They had guys out, but at the same time they have seasoned veterans. Even Jones, the backup point guard, he's a seasoned veteran. You know what I'm saying? Taj Gibson, he's been through wars. Like he could drop 20 on anybody. Like it just depends on his usage rate. Like he's a good player. So like don't think we shouldn't think that we got beat by a bunch of bums and like we got beat by a bunch of young guys. But no, they got a bunch of seasoned veterans on their team leading the way, and they did what they were supposed to do. They're still in the playoff hunt. Maybe not too much, but they have a lot of pride. They've been together for a long time, so I'm not too discouraged with the loss. We had guys come out and they gave it their all. You see that they're not trying to lose. I heard Mitch Robinson cursing some guys out. Come get the effing ball. Like he's taking the ball at one time. So they got the fight in them, and I think that's Fizdale's job to keep them hungry, keep them fighting, keep them progressing. And we're going to the next game. We got 16 games left in the season, and hang in there, Isaiah. Hang in there, fellas. We almost at the finish line. And we'll see how the basketball guys do us in the lottery. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. Let's see what's up. Let's see what some other guys thinking. Good spiel though. I think good spiel. Mark, I'm coming to you. Mark, you ready? Coming to you, Mark. Put all your yeah. What's going on, Mark?
What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Did you expect more from the Knicks today? Tonight, did you expect more?
Bro, the effort from the other night was there. Tonight, bro, I can't watch these 2-point guards. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They don't make the other players look good and play better, bro. It don't look good with these two guys. I'm sorry, man. When I'm watching my television, I'm just griping at my television screen because, bro, they're not point guards. They're just not. They're just not. Tonight was just pathetic. Wiggins wasn't on the floor and Towns wasn't on the floor. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I hear you. It'd be nice if people could see you.
Let me
Mark.
ask you a question.
It'd be nice if people could see you. You know what I mean? If you
oh, my bad. Hold on.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry. Who was that guy that had 16 points? It was an unknown guy. He had 16 points tonight. Why does he have 16 points tonight? I don't know who it is on Timberwolves squad, but he shouldn't have 16 points.
Yeah.
It was his high score of the night.
I mean,
I can't watch those two at guard handling my ball with the type of players that we have that need point guard play, bro. It don't look good. I cringe at my television. I'm watching Mitch screaming for the ball. It's too many late, delayed passes that need to be made, and our point guards aren't doing it. They're holding the ball for too long. I'm sorry. It was just horrible to watch tonight by those 2-point guards. They're not good. That's why Fitz pull them out. He pulls them out.
I agree with you, man. Tonight
these guys are like guards. They're just two guards.
Let me ask you this though: how much of it is part of what Fizdale has preached all season,
bro?
Because I'm gonna be honest with you.
Go ahead.
Like I said, I'm a Fizdale supporter. I want Fizdale to do well. I'm not giving up on Fizdale, right? But how much of what we see from the point guards is because Fizdale, instead of holding people accountable from the beginning, said, I'm going to let you play your game. I'm going to let you freestyle. He let Trier freestyle. Dennis Smith Jr. comes in. I'm going to let you just ball. How much of it is his? How much blame does he have to take from that? Because he did that, right?
I'm gonna tell you something. Those two guys, they're one-dimensional players. It's not like they show you anything that they could do that they could do better. From Dennis being in Dallas, he's one-dimensional.
Okay,
he's one-dimensional,
right.
So
that's why
Rick Carlisle gave up on him,
right? Because
they run a system that he cannot run because he is one-dimensional as a player. Trey is one-dimensional as a player. So with Trey, he's putting him out there and letting him play his game because that's the only type of game he can play.
Okay,
because he hasn't shown you no other skill set, and there's no other skill set that he has that shows you that he can play.
I get that, right? But so if you have a bunch of one-dimensional players, why let them freelance? When you have one-dimensional players, you put them in a role. You find out what that dimension is that they're good at. What dimension are you good at? Oh, you're good at doing this? This is what you're going to do. Okay, so I get what you're saying about Trier, right? Dennis Smith Jr. can do more than just go one-on-one.
Bro,
no,
he's strictly picking.
Okay.
It's not like when he gets the ball. It's not like when he passes the ball out, he does nothing else. He doesn't cut. He doesn't move.
Okay,
he stands out there.
All right, but let me ask you though.
That's what I mean. That's one-dimensional.
Okay, so then why did Fizdale not give him a role and say, I want you to stick to this role because this is how we're going to maximize your skills and will help you develop in the other areas? The same thing with Moutier, the same thing throughout the season. If we have a bunch of one-dimensional players, this is my thinking. If you have a bunch of one-dimensional players, one guy can play defense, one guy can shoot from three, one guy gets rebounds, one guy gets blocks, right? Then you don't let them freestyle. You put them in their role so that they can maximize their efforts. When you let them freestyle, they do stuff that they can't do because they're one-dimensional.
All right, so let me ask you a question. So you're telling me when you watch Fizdale offense, this is just strictly freestyle? No, it's not.
Most of it is.
I see a lot of opening gaps where the ball needs to be passed to the players, and the ball don't get there on time because we have guards that hold the ball for a long amount of time.
Exactly. But this is the thing. But this is what I'm saying. He plays freestyle. It's a freestyle type of a system with players that do not understand how to play a freestyle type of game that is not selfish. Right? So he's playing a freestyle type of game without players that can recognize those gaps. Those gaps might be there. Listen, they might be there, but if you don't have players that can recognize it or make the pass when it's there, then your system is not going to work. You got to have the player, any system, you got to have the players that can play that system. So if you don't have those players, and maybe he's trying to find out if he has those players. I don't know. But if you don't have those, by now you should know. If you don't have those players, though, then you got to put them in a role because they are one-dimensional. You got to put them in a role. He has to take some fault. He has to take some fault. Not about the losing.
Let me ask you a question.
Not about. But hold up, Mark. Hold up. I'm not saying about the losing. That's not what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about my point guards that don't know how to pass the ball.
Hold up. I'm talking to everybody. We're not talking about the losing as we're having this discussion, ladies and gentlemen. We're just talking about basic principles. The Knicks, they're losing, whatever it is. But we're talking about if you have players that are one-dimensional, why do you not put them in a role? And how much Fizdale has to play, how much fault does he take in our point guards not distributing the ball, finding players when they're in the right positions? There's nights that they do. We got to say that. There are nights that they do. But most of the time, most of the time it becomes kind of stagnant. We know that. It becomes stagnant. That's why our assist levels are low. Now, we've been through Frank Ntilikina at the point guard spot, Emmanuel Mudiay at the point guard spot, Dennis Smith Jr. at the point guard spot. All these different players at the point guard spot, our assist totals remain low. Have you ever heard if you keep on getting every place you go, there's a problem, you might keep blaming everybody else, and I'm not talking to you specifically, Mark. You might be blaming everyone else, but eventually, if every place you go, there's a problem, maybe it's you. If every point guard that Fizdale puts in to the system, we see
Kadeem looks way better than all our point guards that can play. If you go look at his games compared to these point guards, I swear to God, the offense looks 10 times better.
Okay.
The ball moves.
You know, I mean, we still lost. We still, I mean, it's
we're gonna lose because we don't have talent. But
it's not like Kadeem Allen. Did Kadeem Allen even start? Maybe 1 or 2 games, right? It's not like our assist totals went way up still. I mean, maybe the ball, maybe it did move better. Hold up. All right, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Some of it has to be placed on Fizdale. Some of it is because he let these guys from the beginning, maybe not Dennis Smith Jr. because he wasn't here, but he let these guys play without having structure. Whether you want to call it a system or not, he let them play without having structure. When you do that, you got to build principles from the beginning. Whatever the principles are that you want, you got to keep it tight and then you open it up. You keep it tight, then you open it up, right? You have kids in school, you let them walk in the line. You force them to walk in the line. They get a little bit older, more experienced. Maybe they don't have to be in that line anymore because they know how to control themselves. That's what you have to do. You have to emphasize your principles first. And I don't feel like he did that. I don't feel like he emphasized those principles first. He let them go.
Number one, you have to let those young players go because you got to know what he got.
I disagree.
Number one, he has to know each individual weakness and plus.
But you can find that. But you can find that from But you can figure that out more through structure. You learn what they're good at and what they're not good at through structure. When you let them freewheel, first of all, you let them pick up bad habits. Your team picks up bad habits because you're letting them freewheel. When you have structure, you figure out what they can do. You see what they can do, right? Because when you have structure, you say, okay, this is now your time. You let them know their time that they can go one-on-one, when they need to pass the ball, when they need to do this, when they need to do that. And you figure out, can they do it? When they have that chance, can they do it? Or can they even follow your instructions? Are they disciplined enough to follow that structure, especially when it's necessary? You know what I'm saying? But if you do not give them any kind of structure and you let them just go for it, you don't know if they're disciplined. You don't know.
So now
you don't learn anything.
I'm glad you said that. Dennis Smith came from Dallas, right? And if anybody watched Dallas or know Rick Carlisle, his offense, the offense that he runs is nothing but structure. They wanted to trade him because he did not know how to run plays. This is facts. This is facts about this kid. He could not play in a structured offense whatsoever, and he was frustrated. But they didn't allow him to be free-willing with his game. This is a fact thing. This is a fact.
Okay.
That's why Dallas gave up on him. Like, they just gave him away. This is a fact. That is the most structured team than any team in the league right now. Dallas. They run a strict structure, and he could not play in it because he couldn't read the game well.
Right.
And
so,
he was frustrated.
Mark, you're making my point for me. You are making my point for me. Dallas
is just not good at point guard.
But
That's
listen,
all I'm saying.
But you're making my point for me though. He has but listen. He has a structure, right? Rick Carlisle has a structure, and he's like, this kid, without even knowing what he can and can't do before he comes to the team, he puts him in a structured offense, right? And he says, this kid can't do it. He can't do what we need him to do to win, to win the way we want to win. He can't do it. So they shipped him out, right? The Knicks, we kind of freewheel we're trying to play this freelance type of an offense, which I get if you have the right players. If you have those players, you can play a freelance type of an offense. We don't have those guys. Like you're saying, they're one-dimensional. You don't have those guys. I feel like if he at least tried, because Dennis Smith Jr. wasn't here.
He's just not a point guard, Sim.
But Dennis Smith Jr. We're not even talking about just him. Dennis Smith Jr. wasn't here the whole season. He's only been here, 20, 30 games or whatever it is, right? Even before then, he let Moutier just freewheel. He let whoever it is just freewheel. Just do whatever, I mean, he had some actions in there. Just kind of do whatever
Moutier
they wanted to do.
played in Denver for 4 years. They have structure in their offense. And they got rid of him after the 4th year.
So then what does that say about us then?
What do you mean that's what that say about us?
What does that say about us? So then are you saying we just picked up the wrong players?
Of course we did.
Okay, so then now, so if we picked up the wrong players in Moutier, we picked up the wrong player in Dennis Smith Jr., well, everyone is lauding what the front office is doing.
Bro, I never everybody knew I did not like those two. So, listen.
I've seen you. We can run some tape back. I've seen you come back on. I've seen you come in here and give, and say, if Dennis Smith Jr. can do this, if he can do that.
I gave him having a good game here and there, but that don't mean I'm high on him.
Man.
I never said I was ever high on him.
Well,
never.
But the bottom line is though, if Fizdale wants to play a certain style of basketball, you've got to emphasize those principles, and I don't think he emphasized any true principles. Regardless of who you have in the system, I don't think he emphasized any true principles. I think he kind of let him go for it, right? I'm going to tell you what, even in our tryout today, right, we don't know what any player can do, but you know what we did? Mm-hmm. Before we even let them scrimmage, we went through drills. Mm-hmm. And we said, these are things that we want to see on the floor because this is what we base our game on. We want to see this type of defense. We want to see you being able to cut, pass to the open man, not dribble. So we did drills that emphasized those things. And then when we had them scrimmage, we told them, the things that we went over today, we want to see you emphasize that on the court. We want to see you do it on the court. That's what we're basing if we're going to keep you or if we're going to cut you. If you can do the things that we asked of you. And we taught them certain principles and then and that's a tryout. This is just a tryout. Sam,
when you're coaching, right? Because I have another example. For Dennis Smith, right? Like when he doesn't have the ball, he's just out there, right? Oklahoma City wanted Russell Westbrook to play off the ball and then cut and drive to make the offense a little more better because he's good at that when he does it. But you can tell a player something, they'll do it from here and there. But that don't mean that they're going to continue to keep doing because it's just not part of what they do as a player.
I get that. You're right. You're right.
You get what I'm saying? So
you're right. They may not. You might emphasize.
You can heave on something. You can heave on. It's just like with John Wall. They want John Wall to cut, but he doesn't do it. And look how long he's been in the league. And he has the ability to do it. It's just not in his game. He's more of a two guard because he's just a two guard. He's not a point guard. He don't have them point guard tendencies that is needed for our young bunch, bro. If he couldn't play in a structured offense in Dallas, when I mean that offensive structure, it's to a point that free agents don't even want to go there. Free agents don't want to go because they don't like to be stuck in the system like that.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I think that Fizdale made a mistake from the beginning of the season and not.
Bro, they made a mistake for getting both of those point guards. That's what they did.
I mean, I think he made a mistake in the beginning of the season for not emphasizing. He doesn't. And I'm not saying you have to be every single time up the court play. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about certain principles. Like for example, a principle that I have is if you try to go to the basket, you don't get there in 3 dribbles, you better kick the ball out. I don't want to see a whole bunch of pop. I don't want to see a whole bunch of dribble. That's just a principle that I emphasize. And I don't think he emphasized enough of that.
Okay, and for a guard, right? For a guard. I'm watching tonight, right? Did we play with any type of pace? This I'm going to keep harping on this. The pace is not there. And for a guard that go from 0 to 100. He doesn't do it. Right. He dribbles up the court a lot.
I agree.
A lot. And then when he gets the pick and roll, he don't go full. It's like he has the ball, but he does things on late decisions. When you're a point guard, another thing, do you think he could be a leader as a point guard for these young guys? That's another thing.
I don't know. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he is, man. I mean, you know, maybe one day
big.
You know, maybe one day he'll end up being. Right now, no. Right now, no.
Because you know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy? As much as people hate Frank, but you know the thing, when his defense is tenacity is up, you can see that people follow him in a way.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Listen. With Frank, I see Frank. You know, people talk about being a leader, and I know people are gonna, you know, say whatever.
He's a leader on that defensive end, bro. But listen, he wants to be.
Yeah, and I've seen Frank. I remember last year. Last year when he was rookie. I remember him. I remember seeing him in the corner yelling at Kyle O'Quinn. This is on the offensive side. Yelling at Kyle O'Quinn to tell him where to go and where to be.
Stabilizer.
In the corner.
He's a stabilizer.
You know,
he's a stabilizer guard.
Yeah, and telling people where they need to be on the defensive side and on the offensive side when he doesn't even have the ball in his hand.
It was so bad. Porzingis was mad. Porzingis was mad at Hornacek because he wanted him to start. He wanted him to start.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
He wanted him to start because he knew how to play.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what though, Mark. Yeah. I think KP is gonna get his wish because I think Frank Ntilikina is gonna end up in Dallas somehow. I really do.
Bro, listen. I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go. The only way he leaves is if we get a heist for him. If we get a heist of a play or a pick or something like that. I don't want him to go. No, not at that contract. And
somehow, some way, I think his agent, I think people are gonna look and say, "Let's get him to Dallas." I think I really think that's gonna happen.
What scares me, I really think the office like Moutier and Dennis Smith. Like I think they like him.
Who?
The front office. I think the front office like these point guards. They really like him.
I think that David Fizdale feels like Dennis Smith Jr. could be his guy one day if we don't get Kyrie. I don't know.
I don't see it, bro. I really don't. He's just more of a two guard. Like listen, he's just not a point guard. And I've seen that coming out. Like even that year when he got drafted, I swear to you, Sim, I could put my man's on the phone. I distinctly did not want him. Want him.
Yeah.
Because he was just a two guard in college and he just ate in the paint. He didn't shoot much. And when you watch him tonight, Sim, he can't shoot. Like he literally can't shoot.
We'll see what's gonna happen, man. We're gonna talk about it a little more. Let me get around and talk to
Go ahead, bro. But it ain't funny, man.
And talk to
C Dog. It ain't funny, man.
Guillermo, coming to you, man. What's up, man? I'm good.
You done arguing, Mark? About absolutely
nothing? We're done. We're done. We're done, man. What do you think about the game tonight?
It is what it is, man. I mean, it is what it is. We're in full tank mode. I'm still surprised. Like we talk about in the chat, we having some good discussions in the chat. We don't see guys like Kadeem Allen. So we know this is a full tank job. It's tough to evaluate what he was doing. I thought Mitchell did a great job today in terms of defense. His first foul, he got a minute left third, which I think was excellent. Dotson had a great game. He did have some nice off ball shots, slashed a few times. Like I like what I saw from him. The point guard play was not good. And we're talking about that in the chat. The fact that we suffer from Fizdale's over-reliance on ball dominant guards. And that kind of stifles us. That kind of hurts us in terms of development, how effective players can be. So basically our team operates solely on how well the guard play is, which is just not going to work in today's NBA. So, I mean, today's game, it is what it is. I did have an observation. I think one of our guys could learn from, Trier, he could learn from Jeff Teague. And I'm not saying Jeff Teague is great or whatever, blah, blah. This is like the second game I've seen Sim where we got killed by Jeff Teague driving to the basket and in the last second dish it out to Gibson because it looks like Jeff Teague's about to lay up. Like the way he kind of moves, it always looks like he's about to like lean and lay it up or something like that. He like this is straight out to Gibson. I think that him and Trier have almost a similar game. Like Jeff Teague's game when he was with the Hawks was how Trier's playing now, and that's how back then with the Hawks was kind of like guys playing ISO. They went to the playoffs that 1 year, so he looked good. But I definitely think that Trier can learn from Teague and how Teague is kind of transforming his game. Teague is not a great player by any means, but whenever we play him, I'm always looking, I'm like, damn, he reminds me of Trier, and I wish that Trier can just take that little awareness, pass it out to big guys trailing behind, blah, 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 to add a wrinkle to his game. So, I mean, it is what it is. We're tanking right now, so, I'm just take it for what it is, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how many games we got left, man? How many games we got left, man?
How many games are Knicks? Knicks. Oh, I got so many damn Knicks searches. Hold on. What is this? With 13 and 54, that means that is 67 games minus 82, 15 games. Is that right?
Yeah. We're on pace right now to have the worst record ever for the New York Knicks. The most losses ever. We are on pace to do that. Let me see. Look, we need 3 more. I at least want to get 17 wins. At least tie or be a little bit better than the worst record ever. The worst record ever was 17 when we only had 17 wins. Right now we're at 13, and it's hard to find those 4 or 5 wins. Hard to find it.
But Sim, that's coaching. Like, look at his rotations, man. Look at this guy's rotations. This is not a team. We talked about this yesterday. I'm not going to harp on it too much. But I don't look at this team, and I don't see Fizdale trying to coach up these guys. Like, we're talking about this right now in the chat. Like, is this a team that's devoid of talent, or is it devoid of coaching? And where's the balance? Because I'm looking at this team, Sim. This is not a team that should be losing as many games. And I'm not saying, look, I know we had to trade and new guys came in, and Mitchell's healthier now. But is it when you look at this team, Sim, is this a 13-win team? Like, so I don't know what it is, man. And the fact that we're tanking so heavy, I'm scared because I don't know if this is Fizdale actually coaching and he's undercoaching purposefully, or is he just not that good of I'm not saying we should fire him or whatever, even though I'm not the biggest fan of him. But I'm just perplexed because if I saw Fizdale at his finest, I think if I saw any coach at his finest, this is easily a 35 team, maybe 40 if we started with this team at the beginning of the season. So, it is what it is. We're tanking, but I don't know if we can even eke out 3 or 4 more wins because we're in full tank mode. Like we're so gung-ho and trying to get Zion and all these stars to come and play with us. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. 1 second, Guillermo. Big shout out to my man Hotep Rel for the super chat. He said, are we sure we want to trade Frank and keep Moutier? I'm not sure at all if I want to trade. I don't want to trade Frank. Bottom line, I don't want to trade Frank. Then he says, Fizz has value around the league, but he's not really a fan. Saying, Hotep is saying he's not really a fan.
So how would you feel if we trade off Frank and he goes off to whatever? I'm scared he's going to go to a real actual playoff competitor and do well. If we trade off Frank and he flourishes for whatever team, I'm not saying necessarily in a point guard role strictly, just can play the guard role and he flourishes. Would that convince you that Fizdale is just not the right coach? And the team we get in the future is not, we're not doing that well, or we're just getting to the first round of players, whatever. Or let me even say that. Just how would your perception of Fizdale be if we traded off Frank and he flourished someplace else?
I would not think. I would think that he didn't know how to use his players, and that he was not. If that happens, I would think that he's not that great of a coach, because a coach, while you might have a system and a philosophy of play, a good coach is able to adapt that philosophy for each player's skill set. You bring in players and and you adapt that philosophy. You look for players that fit your philosophy, but each player is still going to come with some different things, and then you adapt it a little bit. And I would think that he's not that good of a coach, because a player like Frank, I believe you can find a way to use that guy no matter what. You can find something. You can find a way to use him.
I just think it's scary because you guys brought up yesterday. I would have loved to see Frank, and I know guys are going to get on me about Frank. I'm not saying Frank is the greatest point guard of all time, but you guys hinted at it yesterday, and we were talking about in the chat. Frank last year looked good defensively because I don't think teams were running the pick and roll as much as they did this year when we had Cantor. And I think that Frank trying to overplay to compensate for Cantor kind of hurt him. I would have loved to see Frank play with Mitchell Robinson, because that defensive him right there, that just him, Dotson, and Mitchell, just in spurts. I'm not saying this is a team for the future, but I would have loved to see those three guys play, especially against a pick and roll. I think that would have been something really special, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to you, Grandma, because we're gonna talk about we're gonna get in and talk about Ja Morant in a little bit, and it leads right into this whole point guard discussion. All right, so before we get to that, I just want to remind everyone that VIP membership is available. You can go right on the website, put the link in the description, and you got a regular membership, you got a VIP membership. Of course, the regular membership, you get access to the NBK app powered by Wix, use of forum and blogs, network with other members, access to event information before it goes public. You'll get a newsletter to get that information first. VIP members, you get everything in a regular membership. There'll be one VIP live stream per month. That means a live stream just for those who are VIP members. A weekly podcast that begins next Friday. You'll get first choice on event tickets and contests. So you'll find out before even the regular members find out. There'll be exclusive events. Once we reach 500 members, there will be exclusive events that are just for VIP members, get-togethers, those type of things. And then when we have NBK promotional items available or New York Knicks promotional items available, you'll get first dibs on those. So make sure you become a VIP member. And I'm going to put the link right here in the description. I'm sorry, in the chat. You got a link right there in the chat. We're going to go ahead and talk about, we're just going to recap the game. We're not going to talk about, we're just going to recap the game real quick. All right. I know we've already had a lot of discussion, but we're going to go ahead and recap the game. While you guys are thinking about becoming a VIP member, we're going to recap the game, and then I'm going to get to a couple of phone calls. So if you want to call in, call me at 516-405-2246. All right, the Knicks lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves 103-92. The Knicks started off with a decent first quarter, 23-22. And mind you, the Minnesota Timberwolves were out. No Karl Anthony Towns, no Andrew Wiggins. The Knicks were down 23-22 after the first quarter. Second quarter, the Minnesota Timberwolves built up a 15-point lead. The Knicks were able to win that lead, going on a 10-0 run by the end of the quarter. They still ended up down, 7 points or whatever it was by the end of the quarter. 8 points by the end of the quarter. Third quarter, 25-20, Minnesota Timberwolves. Fourth quarter, the Knicks won it 27-23, but it wasn't enough. As again, the Knicks lose 103-92 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, it was a back-to-back game for the Knicks. I didn't like the schedule, the recent schedule. The Knicks went to the West Coast, and they had the last game in Phoenix. Then they flew back home to New York, and then jumped right on a plane and go to Minnesota. I don't know. I think it was backwards. Why couldn't they go from Phoenix to Minnesota to Indiana, right, and then home or whatever? But, it is what it is. Everyone in the NBA has that type of a schedule. The Knicks' biggest lead was 3. The Minnesota Timberwolves His lead was 20. The Knicks out-rebounded the Minnesota Timberwolves, but you know what? You got to convert those rebounds, folks. It is what it is. Got to make it work for you. 43 rebounds to 40 for the Knicks. Knicks had 20 assists tonight. 1 assist better than their season's average. 5 steals, 8 blocks, 17 turnovers. Assist-to-turnover ratio is still awful, terrible. As a matter of fact, the Knicks are averaging more and more turnovers. Earlier in the season, the Knicks were decent with the turnovers. They're averaging more and more turnovers in the last few weeks. Minnesota Timberwolves have 40 rebounds, 22 assists, 13 steals, 10 blocks, and 11 turnovers. The Knicks shot 43% from the field on 86 shots. They shot 4% from 3, 57.1% from the free throw line, and this is becoming a real problem for the New York Knicks. They're now a low percentage, shooting free throw team, becoming a problem. The Minnesota Timberwolves shot 44.7% from the field, 30% from 3, 76.9% from the stripe with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They only shot 13 shots from the stripe, though. Looking at the box score, Kevin Knox had one of his better games tonight. It was 13 points, 5 for 11 from the field, 45.5%, had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, only 2 turnovers, and he had 1 block. Noah Vonleh, he was 3 for 4 from the field at 8 points, 6 rebounds. DeAndre Jordan, he only had 2 points and 5 rebounds. He played 15 minutes. Damian Dotson played 40 minutes. He had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Dennis Smith Jr., with a lot of talk about the Knicks point guard play. Dennis Smith Jr. had 13 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 turnovers. Manuel Mudiay, 4 points, 2 for 7 from the field, 4 rebounds, only 1 assist. A combined 5 assists from our point guards. Check this. A combined 5 assists from our point guards. A combined 10 turnovers from our point guards. 2 point guards. Dennis Smith Jr. and Manuel Mudiay. 5 assists, 10 turnovers. That's the whole argument tonight about the Knicks point guard play. You can't have 5 assists and 10 turnovers as a point guard duo and shoot less than 4% from the field as a duo. As a duo, they had 17 points. They shot less than 40% from the field. They had 6 rebounds. They had 5 assists and 10 turnovers as a duo. Manuel Mudiay and Dennis Smith Jr. Mitchell Robinson had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks. Alonzo Trier, 15 points, 45.5% from the field. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. Lance Thomas played 12 minutes. He had 3 points. John Jenkins played 10 minutes, no points, 1 rebound. Henry Ellenson did not play. Luke Cornett did not play. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, as the big dogs were out tonight, other guys stepped up. Bates Diop, he had 18.6 rebounds. Sarge had 11 points. Taj Gibson had 25 points and 8 rebounds. Josh Okogie had 2 points, 2 assists. Jeff Teague had 20 points and 10 rebounds. Veterans eating the Knicks alive, y'all. That was one of the reasons, even with Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns out, I didn't think the Knicks were going to have a chance to win, because you got some veterans here that just know how to play the basketball game. When you're playing a team like the Kings, who even have a better record than the Minnesota Timberwolves, see, the Kings got a bunch of young guys. They might have a better record and they can, put it together, but, they're the kind of team that you'll have a chance against because they're young guys. This is a veteran team, a team like the Knicks, playing with a bunch of young guys. You got one vet out there on the floor. You got vets like Jeff Teague, Josh Gibson. Those guys know how to play basketball, man. Derrick Rose only played 7 minutes tonight. He had 4 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Tyus Jones, he had 13 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Anthony Tolliver played 24 minutes, only 3 rebounds and 3 points and 7 rebounds, but that's not what he's there for. He's not there to score. He's there to play defense, get rebounds, maybe hit a 3 or 2. Cameron Reynolds played 18 minutes. He had 3 points, 2 rebounds. Jared Bayless, Jared Terrell, C.J. Williams didn't do much of anything. They played 2 minutes, 1 minute, 1 minute. Again, the Knicks lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves 103-92. Let's get to a couple of phone calls, ladies and gentlemen. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping? Hey, caller. What's popping, bro?
Hello?
Hello?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, my man. What's popping with you? What's good with you?
What's good, Sam? How you doing?
I'm good.
This is James. This is James from Brooklyn.
All right. What's up, James? How you feeling about the game and so on?
Say that again?
I said, how you feel about the game tonight and so on? What do you think about our point guard situation? It's on and off. Some people like it. Some nights we like it. Sometimes, some nights we don't. How are you feeling about the point guard situation right now, currently with the New York Knicks?
Right now, I feel like we just need to wait till the draft because obviously Dennis Smith and Emmanuel Mudiay, both of them, they're not going to cut it for me, in my opinion. So if I was the Knicks, I would hope for the best in the draft because Dennis Smith Jr., it's going to take him another 2, probably 3 years just to understand how to run a basic pick and roll. You can see it in the games. Like, he's so indecisive. Once he go around a pick, he don't know if to pull up, if he want to do the lob, if he want to kick it out. He has no idea how to run that pick and roll yet. So I don't think and Mudiay is just not going to be here because he's going to dip into our money. So it's just I will keep Dennis Smith if we, let's say, draft like if we get like if we can't get Ja Morant and we don't get we need a point guard, of course I will keep Dennis Smith. I mean, I don't know what else options there are out there. The cheap, he's on a rookie deal. I would definitely keep him if we don't get a chance to get a point guard in a draft or something like that.
Okay.
But the point guards, what happened to Kadeem Allen? Where he at? What's going on with him?
He's back down in the G League. Once Emmanuel Mudiay came back, they put him back down in the G League.
What? I swear he was my favorite point guard out of all of them. I know he only played like 10 games, but he was my favorite out of all of them.
He played
Kadeem
defense.
Allen was my favorite.
He played defense, and he just did what he was asked to do.
Yep. He kept the game very simplistic.
Exactly.
And, he played defense, and he did exactly what he was asked to do. He didn't turn the ball over. Like I said, he played defense, and he did exactly what he was asked to do. But these guys right here, I like Alonzo Trier, but he's not a point guard. He knows it. Everybody knows it. So we're definitely in search for a point guard, and we've been in search for this for about 15 years now. Yeah,
we've been in search. Yeah, we've been in search for a point guard and for our point guard of the future for seems like forever. You know what I mean? And I don't know,
it's been a long time.
When we ever gonna get that person, I don't know. Even if you get Kyrie Irving, he's not necessarily the point guard of the future. He's the point guard for the next 5 or 6 years. When I think of point guard for the future, I'm thinking 10 to 15 years. He'd be the point guard for the next, 5 to 6 years.
How do you like the kid from every state, though? Did you see him in the championship game? Yeah. How you like him?
We're about to talk about him. We're about to talk about Ja Morant and how, how he would fit with the Knicks and how, it would be, if the Knicks were to, there's a lot that's going to go into if the Knicks were to draft Ja Morant. A lot goes into that, in my opinion, because of, you got Dennis Smith Jr. I'm not even worried about Emmanuel Mudiay. And you traded Kristaps Porzingis.
Yep.
Not for Dennis Smith Jr., but, you traded KP. Dennis Smith Jr. came in that trade. There could be a lot of flack. Now you draft another point guard, and all of a sudden Dennis Smith Jr. isn't isn't the guy. I don't know. We're going to see. But we're going to talk about him in a couple minutes.
If they do, if they do that, they could always flip Dennis Smith Jr. into a high draft pick, or package him with Frank and flip him to a high draft pick. Like that's always assets. Yeah. Right now we're in the business of collecting assets, and Dennis Smith is an asset. And if we get Ja Morant, we can trade that asset. We don't have to buy him out. It's not that type of situation. Somebody's going to want him, and we can definitely get him off the books.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. We matter of fact, we about to get in there. We about to get in there and talk about it right now. About to jump in here and talk about Ja Morant right now. I appreciate the call, man.
No problem.
All right, no doubt. Peace.
All right.
And before we get in and talk about Ja Morant, I want to just give another shout out to Hotep Rel for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Was Kawhi Leonard a great offensive player out the gate? The answer is no. He said, Frank is legit. Fizz can't coach. He's overrated. Frank can ball. They play different in Europe. My man Hotep Rel laying it down about Frank Ntilikina. Let's get to one more call, and we're going to talk about Ja Morant and if he fits with the New York Knicks and what that whole thing looks like. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, what's up? This is Ryan.
What's going on with you, bro?
Yo, we need Kadeem Allen back.
Uh-huh.
We definitely need Kadeem Allen back, man.
I feel you. I feel you. A lot of people upset about this point guard play. I'm not sure that we bring Kadeem Allen back up for the remainder of this season. I think he's going to stay in the G League. I'm not seeing it.
Because I know Dennis Smith Jr. need a little more time, for the chemistry to build up with him and the team. And Moutier, I don't think they're going to be signing Moutier because he's going to be asking for too much money. And most of the money that, they're going to need is going to go towards the two big-name free agents that we're going to need for this summer.
Right. Yeah, I don't see the Knicks. I don't see the Knicks keeping Moutier. I agree with you. I don't see the Knicks, and that's why Kadeem Allen could be so important because he's serviceable. He's gonna have a cheap contract, and if you're gonna be using all your money, for free agents, if that's what happens, then yes, you are going to need players like Kadeem Allen. You know what I'm saying? That can be valued on small contracts.
Yeah, because, now about Frank, last year, if he was playing like he was last year, I would be dead against him trading him because last year he really showed some promise.
Right.
But it's like he's taking a step backwards this season.
Well, he's been out for a quarter of the season. He's been out for about a quarter of the season. I think it would be a mistake to trade him. See what kind of improvements he can make going into next year. And looking at the type of team that they say they want to put, people say that they want to put together. I think that Frank can fit. If they're talking about Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Frank has a spot in there, in my opinion. So we'll see though.
And don't think like that. That they I don't know if they're gonna get one in the draft because it all depends on where they fall in the draft. Because if they fall that number one spot, then they most likely gonna want to pick Zion. Or if they fall to number two spot, they probably gonna pick R.J. Barrett. So I'm not sure what's up with that.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We're gonna find out. Well, hey, I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna talk about. We're gonna break down and talk about Ja Morant a little bit. All right.
All right,
man. Appreciate the call.
All right,
peace.
Check you later.
All right, folks. Let's get in here. Let's talk about Ja Morant and does he fit? Does he fit with the Knicks? We're going to do a little prospect watch right now. We're going to do a little bit of a prospect watch. So you guys in video chat, do me a favor and just, listen up, pay attention if you can. If you can see the screen, because we're going to just kind of look at it. It's the number one question. Well, we'll get into that. Let's take a look at Ja Morant before we even get into all that kind of stuff. Let's take a look at the kid. All right, let's take a look at him real quick. Ja Morant, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, he's averaging 24.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and 10 assists. He shoots 50% from the field, 33% from three. He can pull that up some, right? 81% from the free throw line, a 55.3% effective field goal percentage. And if you've seen the kid ball, the kid can flat out play basketball. Flat out play. You know what I'm saying? He can flat out play basketball. We'll see how things look. March Madness is coming up, right? March Madness is coming. And this is when you really find out what these guys can do. This is when you find out. You learn, are these guys big-time players? Right? You find out if they're big-time players. So we're going to find out what he can really do. And as Murray State, if they advance and the competition gets stiffer, we're going to find out more about Ja Morant, as is all of them. As is all of them. It's the first non-Duke player we've covered. First one. But we're going to get into that. So there you go. Ja Morant so far this season, 24.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 10 assists per game, shoots 50% from the field, 33% from three, 81% from the free throw line, and effective field goal percentage of 55.3%. Right? That's Ja Morant. And he's a sophomore. He's a sophomore, right? A little bit more college experience. A large jump from his freshman to his sophomore year. I think he averaged like 12.5 points per game in his freshman year. Jumps up, 12 points per game. NBADraft.net. Breaking down Ja Morant. What do they say about him? Athleticism, 9. We see it. Maybe he has the dunk of the year, right? We see it. Size, he's 6'3", 175 pounds. They give him 9. He's skinny. I will say that. Skinny kid. But he's a hooper, though. He's a baller, though. Defense, decent defense, rated 8. Strength is 7. Like I said, he's a skinny kid. Skinny kid that has to grow into his body still. Quickness is a 9. The boy is speedy. Leadership, they give him an 8. Jump shot, 7. He shoots the 3, college 3 from 33%. But listen, he's talented, super talented kid. He's going to get better. And his shot will definitely get better. Trust it. Is he NBA ready? NBADraft.net gives him a 7. Ball handling, 9. Potential, 9. Passing, 9. Intangibles, 8. Overall, they give him a 99. Zion had 100. NBADraft.net gives him a 99. He looks like he's going to be a special player. Looks like he can be a special player. So what do the Knicks do? The Knicks do not get the number 1 pick. A lot of people say that they're going to go get R.J. Barrett. They don't get the number 1 pick. The Knicks are going to get R.J. Barrett. That's what they say. Some people say Cam Reddish. They get the number 3 pick. Maybe it's going to be Cam Reddish. Is there any chance that Ja Morant jumps above both of those guys? Listen, you see the NBA comparison, De'Aaron Fox. I agree with that comparison. I do. I kind of agree with that comparison. Maybe he's a little better passer, sees the floor a little better, but I agree with that comparison. We see De'Aaron Fox. You see what he did to us the other night, 30 points, 8 assists. Will the Knicks, well, if they get the number 1 pick, they're not going to skip over Zion, I don't think. But if they get the number 2 or the number 3, will they take Ja Morant? And if so, what does that mean for Dennis Smith Jr.? So before we even get into looking at lineups and how that fits, I want to talk to the video chat. I want to find out what they think about it. And if you have any thoughts, throw it in the YouTube chat. Maybe even give me a call, 516-405-2246. And we'll talk about that quick. So I'm gonna jump to the video chat. We'll talk about it for a minute or two, and then we're gonna go ahead and break down what these lineups might look like. All right. So I'm gonna start off with Guillermo. Guillermo, what do you think? If the New York Knicks end up getting the 2nd draft pick, right? Or the 3rd. Do they skip over R.J. Barrett, skip over Cam Reddish, and take Ja Morant? And if so, what's that mean? I mean, how does that whole thing work with having Dennis Smith Jr. here if you draft Ja Morant?
If you first of all, I like Ja Morant a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot get Kyrie Irving or you don't trust his knee, you have to take Ja Morant. Ja Morant, and that means that Dennis Smith Jr. is out of here. And I like Dennis Smith Jr., but given how this team is constituted, I don't think that Dennis Smith Jr. would have the luxury of time to develop properly, especially with Fizdale. I don't think he had the luxury of time to develop if we have a KD and whatnot. So you have to bring a guy like Ja Morant, because these guys are telling me, I didn't see Fizdale doing this, but Fizdale was basically fawning over De'Aaron Fox. And Ja Morant, I'm not saying he's De'Aaron Fox, but in terms of athleticism and playing to a higher level when the spotlight's on him, he can do all that. And that's what Fizdale wants. He wants a ball-dominant guard who can slash to the basket, has some court awareness, which he does have. So he fits all the boxes that Fizdale wants. Maybe a little shooting and his defensive principles, he leaves his feet a lot. But that's stuff that's fixable. So if that's the case, then Dennis Smith Jr. is out of here, because really, Dennis Smith Jr. can only play really one role. He's not an off-ball shooter. He's not a defensive stalwart. He's not you already have Dotson, who probably shoots better off ball than him. So Dennis Smith Jr. would have to be out of here. And I honestly don't mind Morant 1. I'm not a fan of Zion. People are going to kill me, but it is what it is. I like Ja Morant. I think Zion's going to be a buzz. But yeah, I take Ja Morant over Cam Reddish or R.J. Barrett, who's another nut. But, yeah, Dennis Smith Jr. would be out of here.
So if the Knicks get number 1, you look at taking Morant over Zion.
If the Knicks could get number 1 and we could literally trade that pick to the 2 or 3rd spot, and we feel strong that Zion would be there at number 3, I'd do that, because the thing about this, Ja Morant needs development, right? He's going to have to be able to shoot better, and he has to play better defense. Like, he leaves his feet a lot. So I would prefer to try to trade back to that 2 or 3 spot and pick up Morant there. But to me, honestly, I watch Zion Williamson, and I'm not getting on the kid. The kid is a hard worker. I like him a lot. But he's a lot of hype. A 6'6" guy who's 270, 280, who's not the greatest of shooters. He's shooting 28% from 3. Not say that's not good shooting, good shoot from 2. Good size for basketball. A lot of this is basketball. A lot is college basketball. Is this same dominance going to translate into the NBA? We've seen this in guys who dominate at the college basketball level, dunking, all this stuff, blah, blah. But they're 6'6", they're undersized, or they're too fat. Sean May, when he was with UNC, we see these guys and they don't pan out. And I like Zion, but I just don't see this transcendent talent. A lot of his hype came from high school. I know about this kid since when he was in high school, all those dunks and all that stuff. I was like, yo, and he had the cool name. And I think that's translated over into college. Like, when I watch this kid play, great talent, good head on the shoulders, all that good stuff. Don't see a transcendent talent. He's not a greatest shooter, doesn't have the greatest of court awareness. He's dominating at the college level, where him and Cam Reddish, they really don't play half-court sets. It's literally dribble, drive to the basket, maybe pass out, whatever. And so when I see him, I see a guy like Ja Morant. That's a guy that I could build with. And not say you can't build with Zion, but if you bring Zion here, Sim, he better be the third option. He better not be the guy that was dependent on carry us to the next level. That's all I'm saying. I just don't like him that way. But Ja Morant, especially for what Fizdale wants to play with the ball-dominant system, he fits it better, and I think he could be a dynamic player in the level-ish around De'Aaron Fox. I don't know about his leadership, like De'Aaron Fox or whatever. De'Aaron Fox is a beast, but I can see him, being similar in terms of talent and impact on the team.
All right, let me get to C-Dog. I haven't spoken to C-Dog yet, and then we'll start breaking down, some of these lineups. C-Dog, what do you think, man? Do you think the Knicks would take?
Hold on.
Do you think that the Knicks would take? Yeah, you're kind of breaking up a little bit. Do you think that the Knicks would take Ja Morant instead of Cam Reddish? I mean, instead of R.J. Barrett or Cam Reddish?
No, they wouldn't do that. New York would be in an uproar.
You think so?
I know they would be in an uproar.
Why?
If they took Morant over Zion, what's the reason for losing all these games?
Well, I'm not talking about over Zion. Guillermo, feels like, he'd be okay with taking Morant over Zion. But I'm talking about over R.J. Barrett or Cam Reddish.
But yeah, I would take Morant over Reddish. We need a point guard.
Okay. So what happens with?
Unless we're going to get Kyrie. If we get Kyrie, then we don't need a point guard.
What happens with Dennis Smith Jr.? How does that whole thing work out?
Come off the bench, I guess. Well, if they get Morant, then he'll still be starting. But once Morant shows that he's better than him, Dennis Smith is either going to have to move to the two guard where he belongs, or he'll be a sub at the point guard.
Now they're both like 6'3", right? So
yeah, I don't care. Morant is better. So have you seen Morant with the ball in his hand?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wizard. Dennis Smith Jr. is not a wizard with the ball in his hand.
Right.
There's a big difference.
And if you have Dennis Smith Jr. at the 2 and Ja Morant at the 1, that's going to be entirely too small. So that's not going to happen.
Then he'll be a backup.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And
go ahead.
He got no choice. He's under contract, right? You do whatever you told to do.
Well, yeah, he's under contract.
What are you gonna do? Walk out there on the court and say I'm not coming off the bench?
But you know what? He did it in Dallas. That's the one thing with Dennis Smith Jr. He did it in Dallas. He had his people. Well, I don't know if he had his people, but his people complained about his role and all that kind of stuff. Mark, I'm gonna come to you real quick, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna come back to the video chat. I'm gonna come to you real quick. Hey, Mark, you paying attention? I don't know if Mark is paying attention. Mark ain't paying attention. Ain't paying attention. Isaiah, all right, I'll come to Mark. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Yo, what's poppin', son?
What's good?
Yo, Guillermo, my boy, but I ain't taking Ja Morant over Zion. I don't know about that, Guillermo. You my boy though, but listen, I gotta see Ja Morant in attorney, because that to me is gonna tell me a lot about him. Because I remember the year De'Aaron Fox was an attorney and he just bust Lonzo's butt. That to me proved that he was the point guard in the draft. And right now he's playing. And I know a lot of us was talking in the chat when he wasn't here. There's no reason why De'Aaron Fox might not be the best point guard in the league in 3 years. He's that good. I'll say it like this, Sim. If we get this kid Ja Morant, I just want the fans to have patience for once with a point guard, because yes, Ja Morant's a good passer. The defense is not that. The defense is okay, and the shot selection is not there yet. I just want the kid to be somewhere we could develop, because from what I'm looking at, we kill point guards right now. That the fans just criticize every point guard we had. Sim.
Sim, that's gonna happen. We already know that's gonna happen.
Sim, and I know you won't say about a lot of us on the chat. Even I do, because I'm not the biggest fan of Moutier and Dennis Smith Jr. I can admit that, but a lot of us in this chat, I don't think they know the word patience and what it means for these kids to come in here 19, 18, and
But do you think that the Knicks? Do you think that they would take him over R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish? Real quick.
No, they won't. They wouldn't do that.
You don't think so?
Me personally, I think R.J. Barrett's the second best talent in this draft, and he's the most. And to me, he's the most skillful player in the draft.
Okay.
If the Knicks don't get Zion, they'll take R.J. Barrett.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Well, let's take a look at. We're just gonna take a quick look, ladies and gentlemen. What would it look like on the floor? All right. So here we go. We got our nothing but Knicks court out here, and you see Ja Morant. We're assuming that the Knicks draft Ja Morant. They drafted him. They got the number 2 pick or the number 3 pick. They drafted Ja Morant. Or they did like Wormo said. They got the number 1 pick and they traded down. They got Ja Morant at 2 or 3. All right, so you got Ja Morant at the point guard spot, because I'm assuming if you draft Ja Morant 1, 2, 3, he's probably going to be starting at that point guard spot. And so now you have a dilemma with Dennis Smith Jr. because Dennis Smith Jr. wants to start and he wants to have the ball in his hands. Right? We seen it in Dallas. They drafted Luka. No longer did Dennis Smith Jr. have the ball in his hands. There were some problems there. So that's something we'd have to work out. And not to mention, we traded KP, and the key piece, the key player that we got back was Dennis Smith Jr. That was the key player. We got DeAndre Jordan, who may be a nice piece going forward, but the key guy, because he was young and has a huge upside, was Dennis Smith Jr. Right? How's that gonna look and feel in Knick Nation? But let's continue to take a look at. We'll continue to take a look at it. All right, so you got Ja Morant. Now let's assume that we continue to have a young squad, because we strike out in free agency. That's what we're assuming on this one, that we strike out in free agency. So you got Ja Morant. Then you got Damian Dotson at the 2, I'm assuming. Kevin Knox at the 3. Young squad. Every time we look at this, it's a young squad. You got Mitchell Robinson at the 5. I'm assuming at this point he's going to be starting at the 5. Now, because you got a young squad, going to be starting at the 5. Now you need a 4. And see, this continues to be a problem every time we look at these lineups, right? Who's the 4? Who's the 4? Now, the Knicks will have money. We know that they're not going to blow it. Well, we hope that they're not going to blow it if they strike out in free agency. But what'll happen? They'll sign somebody. Maybe they'll re-sign Noah Vonleh. So let's assume that they re-sign Noah Vonleh for another year. For another year, if they strike out in free agency, let's just say that they maybe sign him for another year. They gave him another workout. So now, this is the squad that we rocking with to start the season. Right? This is assuming that the Knicks strike out in free agency. This is who we rocking with. This is who we going with. Off the bench, who do you got off the bench now? Dennis Smith Jr. Let's assume that Dennis Smith Jr. says, okay, I'll take a seat. I mean, I'm sure they would have a battle. They would have a point guard battle to see who the starter is. I'm assuming that Ja Morant would probably win that battle. All right, who else we got here? Coming off the bench. You'd have Frank coming off the bench. So now remember, Frank can, he can be the 1, the 2, or the 3. Looking at, if you got Dennis Smith Jr. and you got Ja Morant, Frank is probably going to be the 2 or the 3. Right? And then, who you got? You got got John Jenkins. Let me find my man John in here. Maybe I didn't pull him up. You got Henry. Right? So let's bring Henry in here. I think Henry is hiding. There we go. Hiding behind Noah Vonleh. You got Henry. So Henry kind of probably at that 4 spot. Right? Let's bring in John Jenkins. I thought that I brought John Jenkins in already, but I guess I did not. So you guys are going to see John Jenkins come in and then get resized. All right, so let's bring John Jenkins in. He's not going to be that big. So you're going to bring him down to size. There we go. Let's bring that man down to size. So now you got John Jenkins maybe at, somewhere in here. Right? And then you got to have a 5. So maybe you bring Luke Cornett. I mean, this, I don't know about this lineup, folks. I don't know about this lineup in the bench. It's a young team. We'd be a really young team. You'd have to throw some vets in here, to try to, just be able to get some good basketball play. But this is just assuming that we do not get KD, Kyrie. And I'm sure the Knicks would sign some other veterans to fit around these young guys and help teach and tutor these young guys. This is where it would fit. So the question, though, is how will Dennis Smith Jr. take it? What happens? So now you can see if we don't get any free agents, that Dennis Smith Jr. can easily come off the bench or start and Ja Morant comes off the bench. Either way, right? And you still got lineups that'll fit. And I'm assuming that Emmanuel Mudiay is not here. All right, that's what I'm assuming. They'd be young, probably lose a lot of games. All right? I mean, no experience on the floor, no experience on the bench. What more can you say? It is a team that, you could switch some guys around and let's switch these guys around real quick and put, Ellison at the 4. I guess these two guys, they could, they could switch back. They could switch back and forth. Henry Ellison and Luke Cornett between the 4 and the 5. This is what it would look like. But now let's say that you draft Ja Morant. Let's clean the board. We're going to clean the board real quick. We're going to take all these guys off the board. Let's say that you draft Ja Morant. And you do sign KD and you do sign Kyrie. Now is when you're going to have a problem with Dennis Smith Jr. because where does Dennis Smith Jr. fit? Right? So let's assume, bam, we got Kyrie. We got KD. And you guys already know the deal. I'm assuming that if you get Kyrie and you get KD, DeAndre Jordan is going to be there at the 5 spot. Now we got to fill out. We got to fill out the 2. We got to fill out the 3. I'm assuming that it would probably be Damian Dotson. Listen, Damian Dotson has, and I know I'm always adding him in here at the 2. Right now, he's the best shooting guard that we have. I think that he fits nicely next to guys like Kyrie and them guys because, he can shoot. He can spot up and shoot. He can play defense. And every once in a while, he can get a shot, and he's a good slasher. Right? And then at the 3, you got to ask the question, who's going to be at the 3? Right? Let's assume Kevin Knox. And, for all intents and purposes, Kevin Knox, I believe, will be better next season, especially if he's playing with 3 veterans in the lineup like this. I really believe that. You're playing with 3 of these vets, he'll be a lot better. That's what I believe. But you could also, if you didn't like what Kevin Knox was doing, even on the defense, especially on the defensive side, guess what? You could put this guy in there. So let's switch them around. Switch them around. And I know, some people are going to say that I'm babying Frank. I'm babying him. I'm finding something for him. But I believe that this lineup that you see on the floor could work with Frank in that lineup. I'm sorry. You might disagree with me. He should be bigger and stronger next year. Now, can he stay on the floor and not get injured? I don't know. That could happen. Now, you drafted Ja Morant. So guess what? Ja, you're coming to the bench, right? And you're coming to the bench behind Kyrie Irving. So that's not a bad person to come off the bench behind. Not a bad person to come off the bench behind. So now you got to figure out, you got, say, Kevin Knox at the 3, you got Ja Morant at the 1 coming off the bench. Now what happens with Dennis Smith Jr.? Are you going to play Dennis Smith Jr. and Ja Morant? That's a small lineup. That's a small lineup. I don't know if you play Dennis Smith Jr. and Ja Morant together. Maybe. He does. He plays Dennis Smith Jr. and Emmanuel Mudiay, both about 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". So it's possible you could play those two guys on the floor. I don't know how that works, though. Both are ball dominant. I don't know how that works. Maybe you can. Maybe you can. Right, and then you got, whoever else that you got coming off the bench. Maybe you might have Luke. You might have Henry Ellenson. You might have John Jenkins coming off the bench. Maybe you have John Jenkins and you throw, Kevin Knox at the 4. So let's move Kevin Knox around. John Jenkins up here. You got Kevin Knox at the 4. However it works out. And then you got Luke Cornett or Henry Ellenson or somebody at the 5. I still would say that you would need to have some veteran. You got to have some vets out here if you're going to help these guys out. I like the way this starting 5 looks. Offensively and defensively, I think this starting 5 can get it done. Right? Kyrie, KD, DeAndre Jordan, Damian Dotson, Frank Ntilikina. These guys can play offense, play defense. I think that strikes a good balance. Right? Maybe you can play Dennis Smith Jr. and Ja Morant together. I don't know. Maybe. If Dennis Smith Jr. can play off the ball. And let me not forget our center. That would be coming off the bench, probably Mitchell Robinson. And who knows? Maybe Mitch ends up being the starter. I think that this group would need a little bit more experience in that starting lineup. I don't know how I forgot about Mitchell Robinson and started talking about Luke Cornett. Forgive me for that. I was tripping. Right? But, so, you'd have this 5, then you'd have a young group coming off the bench. You need some more experience and some more firepower, in my opinion, coming off the bench. I got Mitch in there. So, that's possibly what it could look like. I don't know. I don't think if the Knicks do not get the number 1 pick, I doubt that there's any kind of trade for Anthony Davis, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I doubt that. Another lineup, I see somebody say Knox at the 2 over Dot. I would never put Knox at the 2 over Damian Dotson. But you could possibly, put Knox at the 3 and Frank Ntilikina at the 2. And, of course, we got Alonzo Trier. I don't know how I forgot Alonzo Trier. So you also got Alonzo Trier that would be on the bench. All right? So now, let's just say that Dennis Smith Jr. got traded or moved or whatever happened with Dennis Smith Jr. If that did happen, well, then you'd have Alonzo Trier that could jump into that 2 spot, and then there you go. You got Ja Morant, Alonzo Trier, John Jenkins, Kevin Knox, and Mitchell Robinson. Not a bad lineup coming off the bench. Not at all. Not at all. Young, very young, but not a bad lineup. So we'll see how that goes. But this is what I envision if the Knicks were to draft Ja Morant. And I do believe in that first lineup when I went back, with Ja Morant, I think I forgot to add Trier in there, coming off the bench or whatever it was. And for what it's worth, I do not believe that Trier is going to, because of he doesn't have the ability to catch and shoot the way that Damian Dotson does. I don't believe Trier is going to jump into that starting lineup unless he learns how to catch and shoot. He learns how to catch and shoot, it's possible. But, Damian Dotson is a better defender. He's a little bit longer. All right, I see some people say too much offense on the bench. That could be. Scott Perry and those guys, they're gonna have some work to do to figure out how to how to balance out these lineups when it happens, Definitely have some work to do. But this is what it could look like. Possibility of what it could look like. I want to go back and I want to redo the young group though. I just want to redo the young group right quick. So I'm going to take Kyrie off the board. I'm going to take DeAndre off. I'm going to take KD off. Right? And I'm going to pull Ja Morant over here. And then I'm going to pull Mitchell Robinson. Right? And then maybe we put Kevin Knox. Because if we do not, let's say that we decided not to get Noah Vonleh. Right now, for those who just joining us, let's say that we do not get Kyrie or KD and we draft Ja Morant. This is what it could look like. Now, obviously, there would be some more vets to be in and all that good stuff. Right? But then you would have Dennis Smith Jr. off the bench. You would have Alonzo Trier, John Jenkins, and then you'd have, Henry Ellenson, Luke Cornett coming off the bench. All right, maybe you got Henry, maybe you got Luke coming off the bench. I'm probably forgetting someone again, but it is what it is. So we'll see. We'll see what it can look like. We'll see what it can be. And, like I said, there'll be other veterans that are signed. You still got Lance Thomas on the team. But these are possibilities. Possibilities of what it could look like if we get Ja Morant. You get Ja Morant, there's going to be, you're going to have to make some decisions about Dennis Smith Jr. You have to make some decisions about that guy. And, if he wants to remain with this team. That's what you'd have to do. So let's get to the video chat. Talk to the video chat. See what they think about what they've seen on the screen. All right. And I do want to remind everyone really quick before we get to the video chat. Become an official Nothing But Knicks member. As a matter of fact, become a VIP member. A VIP member is only $3 a month. What do you get? You get everything that's in the regular membership. You can see the regular membership over here. Access to the NBK app, use of forums and blogs, network with other members, access to event information before it gets put on the stream and goes public. With the VIP membership, like I said, you get everything in the regular membership. One VIP live stream per month. That's only for VIP members. Weekly podcast that begins next Friday. You get first choice on event tickets and contests. Exclusive events. Once we reach 500 members, there'll be exclusive events for those members. And free NBK and New York Knicks promotional items when they become available. All right, so if you're interested, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the link in the chat. All right, I'm putting the link in the chat right now. And you can become a VIP member with the click of a button. The click of a button, ladies and gentlemen. So join right now. Anyway, let's get back to the video chat. Talk to these guys to see what these guys thinking a little bit. All right, folks. Actually, we're gonna get to a phone call first, and then we're gonna get to the video chat. Caller, you on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
How's it going, bro? It's JJ from Brooklyn. How's everything, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. If you don't mind, I just want to say real quick, the one thing that I don't like about the NBA is they do the draft before free agency.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
You know?
Yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like that either.
I wish we knew what holes we need. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to not draft Morant because we might get Kyrie.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
The good thing.
Tough.
The good thing. I don't know. You know. I don't know. After you draft someone, I don't know how long it is before you can trade them. I'd have to look into it. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I do not like. Yeah. I don't like.
It's not
that.
good at all. They got to change that somehow. They got to.
I don't know if they will.
You know, like we can't not draft a point guard because our hopes that we might get Kyrie.
Because the thing is, the free agency period lasts all the way up until. I mean, once the free agency period starts on July 1, it doesn't stop. You can keep signing players.
Yeah.
Right? You can keep signing players. So you kind of have to do the draft before free agency because it never stops.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's just a tough position to be in, man. You know, especially for the Knicks. You know, you can't not draft a player just because of a hope and a prayer. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do if we draft Morant and then Kyrie comes? Like, what do we? That doesn't fit. They don't fit together.
Right. So well, if you draft Morant and Kyrie comes, you know, he'll just have to come off the bench for a couple of years.
Yeah, for what? 4 or 5 years? He can't. They're not. Neither one of them is a two. They both need the ball to be. I mean, Kyrie maybe could play a two, but not really.
Yeah,
he's more of a two than Morant would be. But
yeah, I mean, you know, he comes off the bench for a couple of years, and then finally he gets that spot or something. Maybe, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, it would be tough, man. You know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see how it's gonna go, man. We'll see how it's gonna go. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate the call. It's getting late.
All right, man. Have a good one, bro.
We're gonna run through and talk to the video chat, and we're gonna get up out of here. I appreciate the call, bro. Later. Yeah, so let's get to these guys, man. Let's see what these guys talking about. Mark, I'm coming to you. You ready, Mark? I don't know if Mark is ready, and I never know. Mark.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man? Did you get a chance to see what I mapped out on the screen?
No, just read out what you mapped to me real quick.
All right, so, well, you know, we started off, you know, let's say we draft Ja Morant.
Okay.
You know, and we have the young guys without having, you know, without getting Kyrie or KD.
Okay.
Or any other big name free agent.
Okay.
Right, you got Ja. I'm figuring you would start Ja Morant at the point guard spot, right? You're gonna start Ja Morant. You got Damian Dotson at the 2. Either Knox or Ntilikina at the 3. Right? Or maybe you have Ntilikina at the 3 and Knox at the 4 and then Mitchell Robinson at the 5. Different ways you can go about it because you don't have a 4 unless you sign a 4 in free agency that you sign to a 1-year deal. You know, you might have Knox at the 3 and whoever that free agent is at the 4.
Okay.
Then coming off the bench, you got Dennis Smith Jr. coming off the bench, Alonzo Trier, maybe Frank coming off the bench, depending on if you sign someone in free agency.
I kind of want him to start behind Morant.
Beside Morant.
No. I kind of want Frank to start with Morant because
beside him. Right. So you have Ja Morant, and then you have Frank, and then you have Damian Dotson or something like that at the 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I mean, that looks like that's a you know, that would be a nice group.
You see, that's something to start off because we would have a point guard that would be able to know to find players in their spots. Because when you watch the kid, that is his number one best attribute about him is his playmaking ability. He know how to get the ball into shooter's pocket.
Right.
Yeah. That is the difference.
Yeah.
And then one thing about him, when I'm watching him, one thing, he puts his foot onto games. Like it's like he's like one of those players. It's like he puts his feet. Like you're gonna see him. You're gonna see him. I like his attitude, but the reason why I won't take him, I'm kind of skeptical of taking him that high, because if he had like a Derrick Rose frame, no question I would take him.
He's skinny, ain't he?
It's that frame taking him so high. You wouldn't.
That boy's like
you don't do that.
That boy is like a string bean.
Yes.
He's a string bean, man. That boy is skinny as a mug.
And you don't, bro, that's like taking Trae Young at 3. That's why Atlanta gave up that pick. Because they didn't want to take Trae that high. You don't take players like that high. As much as you want them. As good as he is. But that is high for a player like that.
And now let's say that the Knicks do get KD and Kyrie, right? And they do draft Ja Morant. So now you talk about Kyrie starting at the point guard spot, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? Damian Dotson at the 2, KD at the 4, then it's DeAndre Jordan at the 5, and then at the 3 either Knox or Frank Ntilikina.
But you know what's so funny? You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny, Sam? If those two came, I don't think they're gonna go after the point guard. They're gonna go after a wing and D player.
But they don't know. You draft before you go into free agency.
Yeah.
So you don't know.
Wait, do you? No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You go to free. Oh yeah,
no, you draft before you go to free agency.
You're right.
So you're not gonna know.
Shit. You're right.
You're not gonna know. So you gotta draft based on. You got to draft thinking that these guys are not coming and work the rest out later. That's what you have to do because you don't know if, you don't know what's going to happen.
All right. So could it be a possibility, right, that they know offhand that these two are coming?
I mean, it's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility that
but
they know.
If those two don't come and we pick Ja Morant, I'm cool with the pick, right? I'm cool with the pick. But do I want to pick him that high with that body structure?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Now, they could trade down if that's who they wanted. They could trade down.
Because personally, me, if that was the case, I would trade down. I would trade down. A team that's viable to trade down with is probably the Hawks. Because the Hawks want like a primary guard. They want someone that can go get a bucket. They want somebody like that. And the top 4 players that can go out and get a bucket, Atlanta's not picking at that spot. So that could be a team that we could rendezvous with in that time because they got the Dallas pick, and then they got their pick. And if they do want this pick, because when you watch Atlanta, they have a structure. They have their identity already. They 3 players who they going forward with. So now they're looking for plugins, and they're looking for like a bona fide guy. Yeah. And if we pick 2 or 3, that will be a team that will take either RJ or Cam Reddish at that spot, other than Ja Morant. Okay,
all right. The rest of the lineups, if we did get KD and Kyrie, you figure Ja Morant, obviously if you kept him, he would come off the bench. So you'd have KD, Kyrie, Dotson, maybe Ntilikina, Knox, DeAndre Jordan.
But another thing, Sam, that you got to take in Heath, when KD and Kyrie come, remember what I talk about, a timeline.
Exactly.
So when supposedly we draft Morant, we might not even keep them just due to the fact that KD and Kyrie is on a timeline. So they're gonna want veterans and guys that
I know of course they're gonna have to spend some money on vets. I don't like that whole timeline stuff though. I really don't.
Listen, it's either you want, because either way, if KD lands here, it's a timeline regardless.
It's a timeline. It's a timeline. I don't like it because it forces you to do some things that can hurt you.
Yeah, but then
It
again,
forces you to do some stuff.
Think about this, because I was just looking at the free agent pool, and there's a lot of guys that will be willing to take cuts even to come play in New York with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. Because let me tell you, Sam, the way this all could turn out, it's all in our favor, bro. If this turn out, once those two guys land, a lot of things can happen, and then we could look like a stout defensive team.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these guys that's coming out are defensive 3D wings. We got Danny Green. We got JaVale Michael that played for the Clippers. We got Trevor Ariza. We got a whole bunch of guys like that that could play behind those two, and that know their game, that complement those guys. So the KD thing, the timeline thing, I know people don't like that, but you got to do what you got to do because he's 30. It's either you want him.
Yeah, I know. You got to do what you got to do. Right. You got to do what you got to do.
And if KD's available, there's no way you whiff on him if he wants to come.
For sure.
I'm sorry, because there's no player that we have that sniffs Kevin Durant's talent.
Yeah.
And you will get fired. You will get fired.
Yeah. And let me get to Viv. Let me see what Viv is thinking. Viv
gonna say the same thing I said.
What's going on?
Yeah. Look, I was looking at some
live,
of the.
Mark. You're still live, Mark. You're still live. Go ahead, Viv.
Okay.
All right. So let me put Mark back on. So I was looking at some of these lineups that I think you were trying to hypothesize. Looks like you wanted to have you're trying to put a lineup out there, basically Morant, right?
Yeah.
Well, if we assume, let's do scenario one, right? No free agents come. So then if you have Morant, now let's assume he was the best player available in that situation. So I guess one way you look at it is, okay, how do we make sure, we clearly have a point guard glut that we have someone, we don't know if Dennis Smith Jr. is going to want to play as a backup point guard or is going to play as a backup player. At the same time, we also don't know if Morant could easily play backup point guard as well, but clearly there's like a glut there. And then I think the rest of the guys, I know you had in there, you had Vonleh in there. I don't know if it's a definite there. I don't believe. Well, someone like Ellenson and some other guys. I guess they're placeholders. I don't know, but.
And some of those guys, I would just assume, like with Vonleh, I was saying, if the Knicks don't get KD and Kyrie, he could be someone that they decide to sign back.
As like a 1 year.
1 year. I don't think they jeopardize any type of money.
Yeah, I mean, if you do a 1 year, I think you do it. Otherwise, I guess with Vonleh, maybe it makes more sense. Maybe the market will dictate 1 year. It's a funny market. You never know. Players sign for 1 year, and then they think they're going to get a longer term deal, and they realize they don't. But if you get him 1 year, that's cool. Cornet, I don't really whatever. You can put a insert XYZ player for half these guys. But yeah,
right.
That's a fair lineup. I think the real question is can this point guard thing work? And I think someone has to go. And I think if Fizdale wants to run whatever he wants to run, I think that Frank Ntilikina will stay. I don't think they'll get much value for him, and I think Dennis Smith Jr. is probably the one that will go. I don't think you can have Morant. You can't have that timeshare. I don't think it'll work well for any of his development.
Yeah, because Dennis thinks he's a starting point guard.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And now. Right, and that's what Mark said. So now, if you insert say, Kyrie and KD, right? I'm looking at this right now. My assumption is with those two is that you can pretty much be in play now for Anthony Davis. So I know this model assumes that Anthony Davis is not going to be there, but I'm going to pretty much presume that Anthony Davis will be part of this trade in some sort of way, and I believe that whether the pick is Morant or whoever else is going to be picked, whoever the best player available is, that they're going to go in a package for who do you call it? Davis.
So do you think? So you think that the Pelicans take Morant.
Yeah, they'll take Morant because I think the way what'll happen is that they will probably get rid of Holiday too, and Morant will be he'll be the player. And now if it's say Zion too, whoever that player is, I think Morant at this point could be that type of player that ends up being a cornerstone player, especially if someone the Pelicans can lean on.
Okay.
Now, if it's not Morant, like if you had anybody else, I think from a practical standpoint, guys like Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be out of the picture there, in my opinion. I think he's gonna be out in any sort of trade. I don't think Dennis Smith Jr. and Kyrie Irving can both be on one team. I just don't see. I think they're way too similar in how they play, in my opinion. And I think if you're gonna have a championship team, and that's especially in this scenario, you need players that can that have a complementing factor to them. So you kind of want someone that brings a little different gear to their game. Yeah. So I don't think Dennis Smith Jr. is gonna be part of it. Okay. And he has the most value, so that I think whoever we pick, and probably Knox and maybe somebody else will go in a deal for Davis.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get around here to Karim. And then we'll probably get off with Ja Morant and finish out the show. Karim, we've been talking about if the Knicks don't get the number 1 draft pick, if they would take Ja Morant at 2 or 3, and how it would look,
right?
How it would look, how he would fit into the offense, or not the offense, into the team, right? Of course, one of the big thing is that if that happens and you do get KD and Kyrie, Dennis Smith Jr. probably has to go. If it doesn't happen, then maybe Dennis Smith Jr. would come off the bench, but he probably would have some problems with it. You see what happened in Dallas. He wants the ball in his hands. You get another guard like Ja Morant who's going to have the ball in his hands. I think it's going to be some problems with Dennis Smith Jr.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I've been listening, paying attention, and I want to say this. I listen to Mark. Mark really frustrates me sometimes with some of the things he says, but he's knowledgeable, but I'm saying I know he's a young dude, and I don't know, maybe his opinion is kind of millennial. I don't know. I'm saying I see things a lot differently. When you talk about a guy's size like Morant, Allen Iverson was smaller than him, Hall of Famer, pick number 1 overall. He just made a comment about Trae Young. That's not a guy that you take that early. That boy just had 49 and 16. But anyway, other than that, I see. All right, this is the question I want to ask you. So, since we're doing this hypothetical, so if we don't end up with the number 1 pick, let's say we get the number 2 pick, who gets the number 1 pick in this theory, or in this
like maybe Phoenix, probably either Phoenix or who else is there? It's us, Phoenix
Cleveland, Hawks, Chicago.
So I'm assuming probably Phoenix or Cleveland.
Okay, so let's just say, for instance, let's say Cleveland gets the number 1 pick. They're gonna take Zion.
Right.
All right. The Suns. Everyone knows the Suns is star for a point guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how about we try to? I mean, how much value does Dennis Smith have at this point right now? Can we get that number 3 pick for Dennis Smith?
Yeah, right. I feel you. And,
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah. And I guess you look at it and say, all right, we want if we want Ja Morant, and we say, we'll give you Dennis Smith Jr. for this or that or whatever. Yeah, I mean that definitely could happen. I can see that happening with a team like Phoenix or something.
Yeah, because I'm saying, it's teams like the Hawks. They got their point guard. There's some teams that got their point guard, but like the Cavs, they might have their point guard. They probably don't value Dennis Smith Jr. like that. But maybe the Suns, if they end up with the 3rd pick and they land, I don't know how much they value that other point guard. I can't remember his name at this point right now. The kid that injured himself. I know a lot of people are really high on him at the top of the list on the point guard. But I'm just saying, for argument's sake, maybe we could like Chicago. Chicago might want a point guard. Maybe if they end up with the 4th pick, maybe we could send them Dennis Smith Jr. and get another asset, which is maybe Cam Reddish, with the pick, or maybe my boy Romeo Langford. So that's how I see it. I mean, I think if the Knicks target Morant as that guy, and I think they've been doing a great job of evaluating talent. When they got Knox at the number they got him at, I don't think anyone that's been selected after him has outplayed him. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, and Mitchell Robinson, when they selected him, at the time they selected him, I don't know if anyone that was selected after him has outplayed him. So I think they're good at evaluating talent. If they see that Morant is that guy, then yeah, I mean, the lineup that you put with Morant coming off the bench, giving Kyrie a breather and him learning from Kyrie, because they're both kind of wizards with the ball. Yep, so I think that would be, a great situation for them two guys right there, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I know it's so much going on.
There's so much happening, right? Lot going on. Who knows?
A lot of free agents.
Who knows what's going to happen, man? We'll probably start looking at and breaking down some free agents and who's and how people would fit, and looking at some salary and stuff like that too. Along with the draft picks, it's just kind of breaking down the whole thing. But a lot going on, man. March Madness is about to start soon. I can't wait.
Right.
We're gonna learn a lot about these kids in March Madness too. We're gonna find out who really steps up and really has that it factor. You know what I'm saying, with March Madness coming in. So we're gonna learn about a lot about these guys too, and it's definitely gonna affect the draft. A lot of these guys you see during the season, their stock is going up and down and this and that. But then when that March Madness hits, that's when you really see who can do what.
Right. Some people go up and some people go down.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but that's just my main take. If we get Morant, like they called up earlier, and he mentioned the fact that Dennis Smith Jr. is an asset. So it's teams out there that need a point guard. Maybe we could flip him and get another drop. Maybe we get another pick. Because in my mind, I'm looking at it like the front office has kind of been forthright as far as what I've been seeing. That Porzingis trade, it kind of came out of nowhere, but from the way the stories go, they did what they had to do. But I'm confident in them to make the right decision. So moving forward, I just feel like if they see Morant, they will get Morant. Select him. We could get a young guy in the draft, because I don't think the Knicks plan on getting rid of all of the young talent and bringing in Anthony Davis. I just don't see they the way they've been preaching. I think they're going to go with the free agency and the draft and develop young guys. So I think if we get Morant, then trade Dennis Smith Jr. Maybe we get another top prospect, and Durant, if he signs, you got to think about it. People talking about this window, but more than likely, if he signs with the Knicks, he's going to retire with the Knicks. He's going to be a free agent at 34, 35.
Yeah, that's true.
He's probably going to retire with the Knicks. So I don't think we have to really worry about that timeline. That's true.
Okay. All right, man. Well, look, the Knicks play Indiana Monday night or Tuesday night. Right? So they go from Minnesota to Indiana. I'm looking at that probably. Listen, the Knicks have, every once in a while they pull out a surprise. I don't think that they pull out a surprise versus Indiana. What's your take, man? What do you think?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, as far as the who they play, Indiana?
Yep. They play Indiana Tuesday night.
I'm definitely looking forward to the matchup. The two leaders in shot blocking, Mitchell Robinson and Miles Turner. Definitely looking forward to that. I think this might be a game that the Knicks might come out and steal, because the pace has been whooping us pretty good, and a big part of them beating us was the matchup with Oladipo and Hardaway. Our best player and their best player dominating our best player, and now they don't have Oladipo no more. So, but we still have the taste of losing to them in every way possible. So I don't know. This might be a game that the Knicks come up, and they've been playing pretty bad. They might. Are they playing at home, or are they still on the road?
Still on the road.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel good about this one, Sam. Because man, you want to get a few more wins before the season is up. The tank is solidified.
It's solidified.
It's all up to the basketball guys. Yeah, it's all up to the basketball guys where our ping pong ball drops. But I don't know, man.
It's definitely solidified, and I don't want to get less than 17 wins, because then that's going to be a record number of losses. I want to at least get more than 17 wins.
I can dig it.
You know what I'm saying?
So you know what? This might be it, man. I'm put me down. Knicks W. And if I'm wrong, I eat crow. But I don't know, man. We lost this team too many times. Robinson, and I know he's gonna be up for the challenge. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's gonna lead us to victory. But if everybody else plays well, if everybody plays solid today, he could have led us to victory the way he was playing. So I don't know, man. I think this might be a game. It might be due because they've been whooping us, and I don't know if any team has swept us the entire season in the East Coast. Like I think every time a team beat us, at some point we beat them. I don't know if we got swept, man. I think if they beat us this game, they're going to sweep us for the season. So I think we might get this one.
So too. Yeah. All right. I hope so, man. I hope so. I want this one. C-Dog, what do you think, man? Knicks, Indiana.
We can win if they bench Moutier and Lance Thomas for the whole game. If they let them play, and that's gonna mess up the operation.
Well, Moutier is probably not gonna get benched, but Lance, it's possible Lance might get benched. Moutier ain't gonna get benched. I don't think.
Nah, they got to bench both of them. They taking up too many minutes from players that can really play. Every minute Lance Thomas is in the game is a minute that somebody else could be in there. Ellison.
Yeah. All right. Well,
but they'll probably lose. They'll go down fighting. Even though normally they usually beat Indiana at least once every
season. Once it did.
But I don't think it's going to happen now. It's too late now.
Yeah.
Indiana just lost.
It's kind of late. We didn't beat them this
year. They need that win. They fighting for third place.
Right.
They can't afford to lose to the Knicks.
Exactly. They're scrapping and they're battling. They can't afford to lose. But maybe we could be a spoiler, man. Let's hope we can be a spoiler. Spoil something for them.
The Knicks could be a lot better if they cut off the fat. Leave Lance Thomas on the bench. Stop playing Moutier. And you'd be surprised the Knicks can get them wins up.
Okay. Well, I just want what we at? 13 wins. I just want 5 more. That's all I want. 5 more wins. Just give me 5 more.
5 more.
Just give me 5 more.
You're trying to beat 17, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to beat 17. Just give me 5 more. That's all. That's it. Give me 5 more wins.
They can afford to win 5 more because they'll still
gonna be in that top. Still gonna be up there.
Yeah, they'll be in the top 3.
Yeah.
How many games we got left?
We got like 12 games or something like that. I don't know.
Only 12 left?
Wait a minute. What's our record right now? 13 and what?
We got 13 wins, I think.
Yeah, we got 13 wins. How many losses we got? 50 something losses. Right?
They got more than 12 games left. That's
Let me see. I'm gonna tell
that
you.
Don't sound like
I'm gonna tell you right now what we got left. Right now we are. If I can find, okay, right now we're 13 and 54. So we got 15 games left.
We got 15 games left.
We got 15 games left.
And you want them to go 5 and 10 down the stretch, huh?
I take it. Go 5 and 10 down the stretch. Try to get, try to get to 18 wins.
Okay, it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah.
I hope they do it. We don't want our names in the record books, but it's definitely gonna be a fight.
It's gonna be a fight. I don't know. Looking at the schedules, I don't know if there's 5 wins on there for us, but give me 4. Give me 4. At least tie the record. Give me 4 and tie the record.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, let's see.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna get around, get everybody, get their little last words in.
I'll check you out later. I'm out.
All right. Peace. Isaiah, I'm gonna let you jump on, man, because you sleep. Isaiah, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, son?
What's good? I'm gonna bring this B2K picture back up.
Yo,
over top of your face.
why you doing me like that, son?
Cause you the B2K man now. That's
oh man.
You the B2K man now.
Yo, listen, man. My girl happy. That's all that matters, man.
I feel you. That's what's up, man.
Listen, man. Son, they need to stop playing. Your daughter need to be on the Knicks. She leading everything. She the Giannis of the league. You know what I'm saying? But
right. So Knicks versus Indiana.
Come on now, son. Come on now.
What's your take on it?
We got the fourth team they're playing. Listen, that's a team that you can say that's literally playing hardball, and that's being coached pretty well right now. Sometimes I wish we had that, but you know, that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Indiana's gonna win because they play hard. And Sabonis, I don't know what it is when he plays the Knicks. I don't know what the Knicks did to him. I don't know what the Knicks did to him when he was a child, but he kills the Knicks every single time.
Every time.
This dude shoots like 12 for 13. Or 13 for 13. I don't understand it, son, but this kid, every time he plays the Knicks, he murders the Knicks.
Yeah. That's the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, man? I hope everybody. It was good to be back on here, man, talking to y'all again, man. I felt good today. You know I'm sleeping right now, so you know this is back to normal.
Yeah, you slept most of the show, but it's good.
I didn't sleep most of the show, man. Don't do that to me. I was listening to Omarion. I was listening to Omarion.
Yeah. All right, man.
But yeah, man. I guess I'll see you Tuesday. I think that's the next time the next play.
Tuesday night.
All right, man. Y'all be good, everybody. Have fun. I'm about to go to sleep, man. B2K all day. You already know we rock.
Peace.
All right, peace, man.
All right, Guillermo. Coming to you, man. Last words. Knicks, Indiana.
Yeah, we're not winning this game, so I would like to see some development for some of my individual players. Just you know, Dotson. I love watching Mitch. You know, it is what it is. I mean, we're gonna lose this one. Fizdale, like I said, and this is the only thing I'll say. Fizdale better be careful because in this NBA, you know, it's a what have you done for me lately, and it's a dog world. When these guys, these saviors come in next year, you know, they might look at it Fizdale like, we don't care that you're tanking. We just see a team that was improperly coached, and you're not doing much for us now, so we want to get rid of you. So you better be careful how much he's going with this tank job. He needs to have a backbone. I wish he would have had a backbone. It's too late now. We've got 15 games. Would have better to see him have a backbone and install something and slightly change their minds and be like, all right, let's not depend so much on tanking. Let's see what Fizdale can do coach-wise. But it is what it is. I guess that's guys here on Tuesday, man.
All right, man.
Salute to you. Peace out, Mark.
Peace. Mark.
Listen, as long as we have those 2-point guards, man, they're going to be the reason why we tank. And, you know, Indiana and their defense.
Yeah.
Work, so.
Yeah, their defense.
So that's going to be a, squeeze out. But as long as we got those 2-point guards, doing what they're doing right now, they help us tank. So, I don't even blame the other players. I'm not even blaming them no more. It's just those two knuckleheads.
Yeah. And Mark, who hit you over the bat who hit you over the head with a bat in the eye? See that scar on your eye? Man, somebody cracked you.
Nah, that was from my wrestling days when I was young.
You was a wrestler? Mark, you was a wrestler? No. You're too skinny to wrestle.
No, bro. When I was young, this is in '96, so around like 6, 7, and wrestling was a phenom. So in my neighborhood where my mother lives, we used to wrestle as kids and stuff like that when wrestling was a big thing. If you was growing up back when WWF was a thing, you'll know where I'm coming from. And like I said, when I was a kid, I used to get into a lot of stuff. So
okay, I bet
I was adventurous. So
I bet. All right, man. I bet you did get into a lot of stuff. I can imagine.
Bro, I kid you not. I haven't gotten into a lot of fights. I never lost one fight in my life.
All right. Well, Mark, I'm out, man. It's late.
All right, bro.
It's 2:30. It's 2:00 in the morning. I'm out of here. I had a long day, but I enjoyed this chat tonight. Tuesday night, we're gonna get into some more draft picks. We're gonna break down a little bit of free agency too on Tuesday night. So
it's gonna be a hot, cold summer, man.
It's gonna be a crazy summer. It's gonna be crazy.
My anxiety is up, son. I'm just scared and happy at the same time.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, Mark, I'm out, man.
Yo, good night, boss.
All right, good night, man. Peace.
Good night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we about to get up out of here for the night. Thank you guys for staying up with me, staying late with me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell. Get a notification whenever I go live, drop a video. Become a VIP member so you can join the podcast, so you can listen to the podcast next Friday when it drops. All right. I'll be back on Tuesday night. We're going to continue to break down some of these players. We're going to take a look at free agency. We're going to put it all together and really talk about some possibilities on how we can build this team. All right. So I'm out, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday night, tomorrow's Monday. Have a great start to your week. Be peaceful. Out of here.